Get 'em Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want, plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone, I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, lead the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered, can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon, 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Wednesday, September 7th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Man, it's all happening now. NFL opening night tomorrow. Dutch Boy Fresh will be live. I'm hoping to jump on that stream. I've already made a move on the first half under 25.5 in Bills, Rams. Our NFL show, our new NFL show, Gridiron Gamblers, came out yesterday, last night. Thank you to all who supported it. It meant a ton to me. The show means a ton to me. I'm very excited to be working with Andy from the Deep Dive podcast and BetSperts, Andy Molitor. I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about the season ahead of us. Starting out 12-2 in the preseason has me really focused and with high expectations. I've got high expectations for this season. So thank you all who supported it. And tomorrow is our first Cappers Contest show. Jose and myself hosting the Cappers Contest show. We've been signed up. We're signed up for the Circa Millions contest. And the picks will be from you guys in the chat. I may try and push you in a couple directions at times, but it is you guys who will decide our 5 picks each week. And we're going to discuss our contest. And we need you to sign up for it. In saying that, my mom and I will sign up this evening. We haven't signed up for the contest. So my mom and I are signing up this evening. If you lose to my mom, there are penalties. There are penalties. We haven't decided what they are at this point. But the Cappers Contest, you can get in until Saturday. The lines are going to be locked in today at 5 p.m. Eastern. And you have Saturday, I believe, until 9 p.m. Eastern to get your picks in. It's the Survivor contest that you have to get in by tomorrow. Tomorrow, before kickoff, is the cutoff date for our Survivor contest. Each is $100 each, $100 each, and we're really, really excited. Sky Dragon says, join the Cappers Contest, paid and created account. Why can't I do anything, make my picks? The picks aren't up yet. So today, 5 p.m. Eastern, it'll all have started. It'll all be rolling, and you'll have the 4 days to get your picks in. And it's great that you came in, DG. I'm looking forward to run with you. There's our guy, Razor Sharp Picks, in the chat. Now, as you guys see, I have a different setup. I'm in the new house, and things are a little tricky getting everything set. So the chat, which means so much to me, I have right in front of me. But I can't highlight the comments right now. I'll have to look over here and move over to this computer. That'll be fixed. But Jose Bouquet, the great producer we have here, will highlight your comments throughout the show because I do find them so important and so illuminating and so helpful. And that's why on our show, if you ever watch one of our shows on a replay, you'll see the chat there. I click that on. Most shows, they don't want the chat as part of their replay show. I know how important it is. It's imperative to our show. So I respect it very much. And Razor Sharp Picks in the house. Nice 1-0, $300 day yesterday. Now 8-0-1 MLB run, 10-1 in all sports. I love that. His $300 gambler's first glance plays locked and loaded as we go for 9 in a row. Now there are videos that I want to play throughout the show. So when that happens, I'll move over here and hopefully not spill anything and keep my cool. Nuke Worker in the house says, good morning. How's the new digs? Any pigeons come up from Parkdale? I have not seen one pigeon. Not one pigeon up here. God. Oh, it's good that you said that because I'm really stressed out with the NFL show and then have been properly prepared for this show. 17 games on today's card that I haven't taken a breath and thought about it, but I've not seen one fucking pigeon. Not one fucking flying dirt rat. Oh. Feels so good. Feels really good to be here. Get out of the struggling community of Parkdale. Feels really, really, really good. Fuck that place. J-Dub in the house. NFL football right around the corner, and I can't wait, says J-Dub. There's Viper NB. Ryan Mueller says another glorious day to make money. Sharon Pulliam in the house. Michael Irvelina says 24 hours to live NFL action. I know what I want to do. I know what I want to do. Michael Irvine says, congrats on the new hood. I hope you got all moved in, ready to roll. It's going to be a battle for a little while, but to hear the kids running around in space and they, play in the backyard with them, it's it really is a dream come true. It's a dream come true. Vipers on the Mets -1.5 so far. That is Vipers action. Mets -1.5. I'm going to copy and paste Vipes action. Here we go. Huge 17-game card. I'm so excited to have Moose Money Bets back with us here today. Danny Lopez shouting out Razor says, thanks for the hard work. There's LJ from H-Town. Phillies first 5, Astros first 5. Diamondbacks team total over 3, 4. Diamondbacks are the sticks are working for the Diamondbacks. I'm going to copy and paste LJ from H-Town. LJ from H-Town, you will see on our Sunday NFL Pub Hub. You will see him throughout the season. I have not cast our first episode of NFL Pub Hub, but all the guys, all the cappers, and if you are in the chat right now and you're like, you know what, I would like to be on NFL Pub Hub, just DM me on Twitter if you got a good enough shot, and we'll get you on there because we want to give you guys a voice. It's very important to our channel. Fanatical Jim says, love the show last night. Just watched the replay. Thank you, Fanatical Jim. That means a ton to us. North Ender, almost time for NFL. Thinking about the under for the Bills game. If anything, I'm on that first half under. Slatsy says, sign up for the NFL contest. Can't wait to see Jimmy's mom's picks. Yes, we're going to talk about that. And going for a 4th in a row with Nick Pivetta Watts +1.5. What a thing of beauty. Ron Walsek says, what did you think of Flightline's runaway win? Well, I thought of Secretariat is what I thought of. And I thought that in the Breeders' Cup Classic, he'll be 3-5. For those of you who don't know, Flightline may be the fastest horse of my lifetime. I'm 42. What he did in the Pacific Classic against Grade 1 competition was unbelievable. Won by over 20 lengths. Ron, on that first turn, I was like, oh, he's going so wide. Why is he going so wide? He just has speed. It's like, it's hard to put into words because it's so dramatic. It's so special. It's poetic. It's his turn of foot is breathtaking. He's probably the fastest horse of my lifetime, and I can't wait for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Epicenter, I'll try to run with him. No one can run with him. No one can run with him. Unbelievable. So what did I think of Flightline's run? It took my breath away. That's what I thought of it, and I loved every second of it. JPZ, Matty Ice in the house. Tim Montana BX says, Braves cost me $4,500. Had him on the run line. I don't like hearing that. There's Nasty Nate, Bananas and Grapes. Mr. Vape says, I'll just sign up. I guess I'll see an email soon. You're definitely going to see an email. Everybody's going to, I know this is our first year of doing it, but everybody will get the email. Everybody will be on point here. And, thank you guys for supporting the Peter Loshak show on Tuesdays. That show means a ton to me. I'm sorry I won't be on it for about 4 months, but I'll be back in action in January. But Pete means so much to all of us. So please support his Tuesday show. And thank you for those of you who did support his Tuesday show. So every Tuesday morning moving forward is the Peter Loshak show. Razor Sharp Pick says, Jimmy growing a beard. No, I'm asking. I'm like, where's the razor? Where is everything? So no, I don't. Taint play of the day is in. Matty Ice, taint play of the day is in. Phillies first 5 -0.5. It's funny seeing Nuke, and I know like so many of my friends are just really, proud that we were able to get family out of Parkdale and all that stuff. I don't look back at Parkdale and think, oh, Parkdale. I think, what a fucking shithole. Get everybody the fuck out of there. Board that motherfucker up. AOD in the house. Nasty Nate, you do have until Saturday for the Cappers contest. But Jose will back that up. I believe that all the Thursday picks, we have to have the Survivor in before the first game Thursday. I'll double check that, but that's the case for the Survivor pools. You have to have them in by Thursday each week. Sorry, Vipe. Yes, my room does sound empty. And I apologize for that. I apologize very, I've got it. I'm working on fixing that right now, but that is what I am working with. And yes, Jose says, yes, accurate. So yes, the Survivor pool, you have to be in before Thursday each week or you're eliminated and your $100 is gone. And yes, I apologize for the audio. Trust me, this was a work in progress. And thank you to Jose for helping me get this set up the way it is right now. But it will get better. Slatsy says Max Scherzer back on IL. Things falling apart for the Mets. Michael Irvin is on the Mets team total over 2.5. First 5 says finally tired in first place. They need to win, but more than anything, don't Trust Jr. I think the Mets take both games. We're going to break all of that down. Yeah, so I'm sorry about the and Sky Dragon says fading in the Classic. I think you maybe have to. It's a Keeneland, right? So maybe I mean, because he's going to be 3-5, 4-5. Ronnie and Burrius just got halfway through your NFL show last night. Had to stop and catch you live. Thank you, Ronnie, and thank you. Sky Dragon says, assuming connections that are supposedly smart don't do something entirely stupid like skip the race. They wouldn't do that to horse racing, right? Rodney Barton in the house. All the cappers here ready to rock. Yes, I'm going to get some foam on the walls, Nasty Nate, and I'm learning about this as we go as well. So I apologize for the audio. Razor Sharp says, we'll be joining Survivor, but not sure about the cappers contest, says I don't lock plays in that early in the week. Razor, the plays don't have to be locked in until Saturday at 9 p.m. So I guess you don't know exactly what some of the public is doing, but the plays don't have to be locked in until Saturday at 9 p.m. So, but yes, the audio will get better, and thank you for your patience with me as we have the move here. It'll just get better and better and better. And I'm not going to have the green screen. I mean, I always have the green screen, but I don't want to use it, Okay, let's get to work right now. Ron Crawford in the house. MLB spreadsheet play today is in Toronto Blue Jays. So we have the taint play today on the Phillies, first 5 -0.5. We have Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play today on the Blue Jays. It is time now to bring in your guest on today's show. I love capping with him. He's coming off a 5-4 Wednesday last week, plus 0.66 units. He's 14-13 here on the show, hitting at 51.9%, down 0.04 units. I know he's going to be healthy in the black. He's got a real skill set for this. He knows the game of baseball inside and out, and it's going to be fun watching him climb the unit ladder. There's Josh Poino in the house. Sky Dragon says, wait, can we use tomorrow night's game for the cappers contest, or does that have to? No, any game. You guys can use any game. That's one big thing about the cappers contest, though, is that once you press submit, those are your 5 picks. You can't go back and change it. So that's an important note. All right. Let's get to work. Please welcome to the show from San Diego, California. His Moose Call play of the day is undefeated here on the show. Please welcome Moose Money Bets. Moose. What's happening, my man? You're on mute, my guy.
There we go. Starting off hot. That's the kind of hump day I'm going to have today, apparently. Happy to be here, Jimmy. The chat is filled. I'm loving seeing everybody in there. Razor, shout out Razor, Christopher Comatini. Great to see all you guys. Let's cash this hump day. Let's make it a payday. We're going to get right after. We're starting with both double headers. So let's go. Let me pull up the swish. Let me make sure that I have the sports insights here ready to go. Let me just get that going. And then I'm also going to have, of course, the new site that we are using for our line movements. It's been working well. It allows us to use Pinnacle, which is helpful, very, very, very helpful. So let's get right to work here. I'm going to talk about the line movement in game 1 of the double dip here shortly. But let's just break it down first. 12:35 p.m. Game 1, New York Mets, 85-51, 39-28 on the road to the Pittsburgh Pirates, 15-84, 27-39 at home, PNC Park, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Those of you who ran with Peter Loshak and the Pittsburgh Pirates yesterday, congratulations for that big score. Look at William Livingood in the house. Says, bro, been trying to find you forever from Loshak in the Back Show. It's been forever, man. Mr. Picks. William Livingood, you're home, baby. Pub Sports Radio is where we are. Great to have you, and thank you for the kind words. All right, let's go. PNC Park, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We'll start with the weather here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We are at 70 Fahrenheit, 6 miles out to right center. It's starting to cool on the East Coast. It's starting to cool. 6 miles out to right center. By the third hour of this game, it's out to right field. And let's go over to the cash flow and get this up here for the odds. Sorry, I was, the capping 17 games after the NFL show yesterday was a bit of a battle that I hope I succeeded in. And we're running nice. We're running very nice in MLB. Let's keep that shit going. Here we go. And it's not Bryce Wilson. It's Underwood Jr. is the pitcher. I had Bryce Wilson from last night. So that has changed. So, Moose, I'm going to need to lean on you on the Underwood breakdown. Moneyline wise, there has been a 8-cent move to the New York Mets, minus 232 to minus. Oh, excuse me. There's been an 8-cent move. I guess it's the opening line was minus 240 for the Mets. It's down to minus 232. The line for the Pirates was plus 199, and it's now plus 206. So I guess the line at Pinnacle got worse for both sides. The total 8.5 at minus 115 is the opener. It's now minus 120. So a 5-cent move to the under. Let's take a look at the cash flow here and see if that all makes sense. Here we go. That's game 2. Where is game 1 cash flow? Here we go. They're giving line value to the New York Mets, which surprises me a little bit here. 20% line value, 25% line value, 2,370 tickets in, 89% of the tickets, 99% of the cash on the New York Mets, 55% of the tickets and 90% of cash on the over, and yet there's been a 5-cent move to the under. Bassett has been very good this year. 12-7, 3.32 ERA, 1.15 WHIP. His last start at home versus the Dodgers, a team that smashes righties, he was great. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, no homers, 4 Ks, 3 walks. On the road, he's been a little worse than he's been. Well, quite a bit worse than he's been at home. 7-2 though, 4.12 ERA, 248 opponents batting average. Mets are hitting 259, 738 OPS versus righties the last 30 days. That number's been dropping. Pirates haven't hit righties all year, 214, 611 over the last 30. Mets bullpen 3.87 ERA, 1.43 WHIP. Seems to bend but not break. And the Pirates bullpen being bad, 5.44 ERA, 1.48 WHIP. Moose, let's roll. Talk to us about Underwood Jr. and what are your thoughts on game 1 of the double dip Mets Pirates?
Well, I just locked it in. I will be on the first 5 under 4.5. It's you just mentioned the Pirates have really struggled hitting right-handed pitchers. Even though Bassett does have worse numbers away from home, it's not like they're bad numbers. I mean, he's still got decent numbers away. I mean, it's 4.12, which isn't horrific. I mean, it's not something you're going to go, oh, I got a 4.12. You're not going to brag about it to anybody. But if you're trying to cap this game and one offense really struggles versus right-handed pitching, that's the kind of number that I'm not going to be too scared of. It's the Mets versus right-handed pitching is absolutely the concern. How well they can do against Underwood. They are 254 average against since the 20th of August, 404 slugging, 729 OPS, 150 ISO, and a 3.4 weighted runs above average. So they are hitting right-handed pitching pretty well, and it's been something we've seen all year. One of the trends that has been productive and profitable have been right-handed pitching at home for the Mets. There's certain teams at home versus right-handed, left-handed pitching, and we'll talk about another scenario where this exists in just a little bit, but it's very much how much offense will we get for the Mets. Underwood is nothing that you're going to be extremely excited about as a Pirate fan. He might be serviceable. I see him down the line as kind of like a 3-4 type guy, but I still think there's some production here. You look at just so far in his limited kind of sample size, the opposing offenses aren't really hitting for a ton of power off of him. The averages are absolutely there, so teams are getting on base, but you also just mentioned the phrase, bend, don't break. That's kind of what I'm looking for here. I'm looking for possibly the Mets to have some base runners, get on base, but then just not capitalize all that much. Because what I'm thinking or what is in my head, and might not be a good thing, it's in my head, really good thoughts go to die up there. But I think that there will be traffic and the Mets will score, but I am not counting on the Pirates to score any kind of significant runs versus Bassett. So I feel pretty good about the first 5 under 4.5, and that's what I locked in. One last little note, the slugging, if you look at Underwood's slugging, 364, 341, 263, 417, 313, all his slugging versus his sinker, cutter, changeup, curveball, and fastball. So if they're going to do some damage, it's going to have to be, they're going to have to put a lot of hits together. They're going to have to string some offense together because he hasn't really given up a ton of home runs and a ton of extra base hits. You're muted, bud.
Sorry, the family freaking out a little bit, but on their way out. I love the breakdown. That makes a ton of sense to me. And Dwayne Underwood Jr., second-round pick back in the day. He was a kid that had potential. I mean, that was back in the day. I believe that was 10 years ago that he was drafted. But, this look makes sense. And also, I kind of like the idea of being against the market in this one. You see a 5-cent move to the under. At this point, small sample size, but 90% of the cash is on the over. And we have a 5-cent move to the under. So the books are saying, if you want to bet this over, go ahead. We'd love it if you did, and we'll take the vig off of it. My pleasure, Clint. Yeah, so at 5 p.m., the lines are out, and you can submit your picks, but not until 5 p.m. Wednesday, and it will always be like that all year long. So it was so cool that you guys are all in it. We can't wait. We are very, very excited about it. BJ says Matt's bets are asleep, though. I agree. Billy Friedrich says the Mets are a joke. Couldn't beat the Nats and have struggled versus Pirates. I could only fade the Mets right now. Only fade the Mets. There's a schnizzle in the house. Eric Jones says something going on with the Mets, man. Let's see if I can get you a better line than that first 5 under 4.5 at -114.
I know BJ's kind of making a pun on like you're asleep, but this game is also early. And one of the things you see happen with the teams that are playing an earlier game in a doubleheader, they will not take batting practice because they're just kind of like, hey, let's get stretched out. Let's just make sure the bodies are loosened up. They'll hit in the cage. They'll do some tee work. But you will see a lot of batting practice sessions canceled earlier in the morning for doubleheader games. I mean, obviously, it's not a tried and true thing. But that is one thing that does happen quite a bit, not only just at the MLB level, but you'll see that for colleges. If they're in between on a doubleheader, you'll see some teams not take necessarily their infield, outfield because they're trying to rest guys. They're trying to make sure everybody is kind of staying loose and not getting tight. So I could easily see also that playing into this factor. I know it's kind of like a little like a punny, like, oh, they're asleep, but they might be like, dozing. They might be a little, kind of sleepy eyed. So that's simply not necessarily going into the cap, but absolutely something I wanted to bring up here.
Yeah, the early games seem to trend to the under. Bryce Wilson is the primary in this spot. Not sure how long Underwood Jr. will go. Bryce Wilson's been really bad at home this year. 6.68 ERA, 304 opponents batting average, but I think this is a good look. Stella Girl, thank you. Finding you a better line. First 5 under 4.5 at -110. So we have Moose locked in, and I want to get involved as well. I would like to get involved. I'm going to make that bet at some point during the show today. I like it. I'm in. I like it. All right, let's talk about game 2 here. We're going to talk about both games, and I don't believe we've talked double headers in our shows. I believe this is your fourth show, Moose. So let's talk. We've got 2 of them here. So we're still in PNC Park. The great Jacob deGrom on the bump for the game 2, 4-1, 1.98 ERA, 0.55 whip. 36 in the 30 is 55 strikeouts, 3 walks, and 3 homers. In his last start, 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. It was a solo shot, 9 strikeouts, and 1 walk, and a 2-1 win at home versus the Dodgers. Johan Oviedo on the other side, he had his first start with Pittsburgh, went 3 innings, didn't allow a run, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, and a 4-0 loss at home versus the Jays. It was a wild 3 innings. They fouled him off. So I'd love to grab his pitch count, but they fouled 22 balls off of him in those 3 innings. And they had runners on the bases. He bent but didn't break. Every inning, it felt like the bases were loaded. It was not as successful as the 3 innings and no earned runs looks. Mets versus righties, as we talked about, we already broke those things down in the bullpen. Let's take a look at what we are dealing with for game 2. As I'm sure you can imagine, it's not going to be pretty, these odds. We have game 2 here. Let me pull it up. A couple lines are up. We have -327 is the opener. This came up about 29 minutes ago at Pinnacle. So -327. We have a total of 7, and it's juiced to the over. Moose, is there anything you're looking for in game 1? Is there any move you want to make in game 2, depending on what you see in game 1?
Yeah, it would have been the first 5 under. I mean, you did touch on how bad the bullpens are, so any kind of cap is going to eliminate that from the equation, because I just don't want to have that factored into this cap at all, unless I was going over or picking a side. And I may as well say this now. It's something I'm really trying. I'm kind of, I'm locking in on. The sides have been really difficult for me because of just at this point in the year, you really have to be paying attention to how lineups are getting constructed, who's being really hot and who's being clutch. Those are all factors that you just absolutely have to be paying attention to. And that's why guys like LJ that lock into a Houston team, or how I'm doing with the Padres, those are only situations I'm looking at for sides, because it's really difficult to evaluate that. I'm not knocking anybody that's being successful with them. I mean, Matty Ice and Ron Crawford with their plays of the day have just absolutely been crushing the sides. But me personally, with all the stuff going on, I'm just trying to lock in specifically on something that I've had success with, and that is the totals. And I know that I'm not trying to take Noli's thing. I promise. Absolute respect to Noli. But it does make a lot of sense to me that you eliminate some equations. So unless you're looking at a side in the second game for using and incorporating the bullpen numbers, I'm generally just going to be looking at totals, and I'm going to take the bullpens out of it. I was thinking in this second game, Pirates team total under first 5, and I think it was a half. I don't know if they score a run off of DeGrom. I mean, that's just it's too likely that he just throws shutout innings today.
Yeah, I agree. This is a tricky game to get money out of, to squeeze money out of. I can see your look there. The first 5s aren't up in game 2, but it's minus 360. I told you it was minus 327. The Pinnacle minus 360 at bet 365. The only thing that I could do is focus on the first 5 and take like a minus 1.5 or something. But the question is, do you trust the Mets offense enough for that? And no, that's you don't. So I guess this is going to end up being a stay off. I'd be very curious to see what happens. But I'm telling you, Oviedo, thank you from Billy Friedrich saying he threw 77 pitches. 22 of those were fouled off. I mean, he came so close to getting touched. Let's say something quickly here for our guy Big Show Picks. The winning weight loss here is still rolling, down 72.6 pounds right now, from 400 down to 327.4. 5.5 pounds the last 11 days. Oh, that's so
dude.
It's so hard to do, and we have so much respect for it. Congratulations, Big Show, and keep it rolling, my man. You are inspiring so many of us out there. So incredible stuff. Okay, so is this a spot where you're going to wait to see in game 1, or do you want to lock something in now for a team total?
The only thing would be the Pirates team total under, but I don't know what the line was on that because I didn't see anything, and it is tough for me to kind of make. I don't really want to make that. I'm not one of those cappers that can just make a decision like right there on the spot. I really like to kind of push every little angle, look every single stat, even if I'm pretty sure I know it. I still like going into it. The other thing would have been the first 5 under, and I mean, Big Show, do that. It's so impressive. Anybody that's tried to do that in the past, and how quickly your eye starts to go down aisle number 9. And the chips and cookies and all the ice cream, it takes so much diligence, and it takes such a strict guideline for you to do that. So it is always impressive when somebody is able to do that. And just shout out, Big, keep it going, man. Just get to where you want to be, man. You're looking great, feeling healthy. The idea is for you to be on this earth for a very long time, and being fit and eating right is absolutely one of the things that helps you do so. Something that me personally, I need to get way better at, and all of us in the chat can understand what it can be at times to eat healthy. So shout out Big Show for all your work, man. Mad respect on that.
Enormous respect. I love it. Pinnacle has a first 5 Pittsburgh Pirates team total up. Take a stab at what it is.
Would be a half for minus 150.
Yes, it's a half run is the team total for the Pirates. It's minus 177 to the over. If you think DeGrom can shut them out for 5 innings, you get plus 143.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to look into that because I don't know if they get a run. I mean, it's one of the best pitchers, and it's a lineup that versus right-handed pitching, they are next to last, 62 weighted runs created plus minus 19.6 weighted runs above average, 121 ISO, 583 OPS, 201 average. Jimmy, that's really, really tempting. That kind of plus money.
It's wild. It's plus 150 on DraftKings.
I'm very. It's tickling me. It's tickle. It's just a little tickle right now. That might be full on yank. I might do that. I might take a stroke on that one.
I'm telling you, if we were in Pittsburgh, it would be such a fun bet, to sit there for a big chunk of money, or even in Vegas on the first 5 no runs and just lose your shit on each out. You need 15 outs, right? Every out, you lose your fucking mind. Okay, well, you can make it now. You can wait on it. How would you like to handle it? Take your time. We can revisit it.
Yeah, you know what? No, I'm doing it. I'm locking it in. I'm going to make it. I'm going to find it somewhere here, and I'm going to bet it. So I am taking it. It's too much sense to me. Because my whole cap was, I don't know if the Pirates aren't going to score a run. Like that was the prerequisite for everything else that came after that was, all right, all the doubleheader stuff, aside, you don't even know who's in the lineup for the second doubleheader. I don't really like betting doubleheaders because there's so many unknowns that go into it. Who's in the lineup, how they play, what kind of issues are going on with the field, if anything happened with the field. I mean, we've seen weird things happen recently with like blackouts and shit like that. So I don't generally bet doubleheaders, but man, I'm doing it. I'm taking it. I'm yanking it. I'm stroking it.
That's a wildly exciting bet that I don't know if I'm going to jump on, but it's very, very exciting. Trenton Claxton, we got everybody, people throwing, our cappers, our guys throwing in their action right now. I'm copying and pasting all of it. So Domi Gunrichi is locked in. He's on the Mets game 1 under 8.5. Domi knows this Mets team inside and out. Phillies run line at +130. Blue Jays run line at +118. Rockies under 11.5. And Twins game 2 team total over 2.5. Sharon Pulliam is on Cincy run line first 5, Texas run line first 5, Arizona run line first 5, Seattle under first 5, and Dodgers run line. That is Sharon's action. Oh, and then I meant to copy and paste Trenton's, but I screwed that up. So let me just copy this. All right. So I'm going to make this bet on game 1, first 5 under 4.5 as soon as I can. I imagine that it will go to 4 here while the show's going on, but I will do it while we are breaking things down. So there is your double dip. The first one pops off in exactly 1 hour. Moose is on the first 5 under 4.5. I'm rolling with. Oh, that's all that cash for you yesterday. Oh, nice job, Trenton. Nice job. And then the Moose is on the Pirates first 5 team total under 1.5. That is a really fun bet. That's going to be, it's going to be a sweat regardless. I think. I mean, you got to think there's.
I will be. I mean, I'm going to enjoy it. I mean, I'm going to enjoy every out, but I mean, I swear, if it's a leadoff home run, like I don't know, I can promise you that. But you're right. It would absolutely be a ton of fun to be like at that game live. Because if you're backing DeGrom and you're cheering for it, dude, what other pitcher would you want to be cheering for outs on? I mean, Bob Gibson comes to mind, but that dude is so much fun to watch. And if you're taking a bet and putting it on it plus money that nobody touches him. Yeah, he's got those kryptonite panties on, man. He's gonna go out there and do what he does, big boss style.
I love it. Domi's son, Domi Gunn says Mets for the last 2 years are probably the best doubleheader team in baseball. They've only been swept a few times out of 15. There is Dabby Cab. He's got his guy Yu Darvish first 5. Jay Peasy, Braves team total over 4.5. Blue Jays Orioles over 7.5 is what our guy Jay Peasy is on. Copy and paste that. All right, let's move into doubleheader number 2 here in the Bronx. Game 1, Minnesota Twins, just 3 games over 500 now, 8 games under 500 on the road at the New York Yankees, 81-54, 46-20 at home. We're at Yankee Stadium. Louis Varland, the 24-year-old who is not a highly thought of prospect, 15th round pick out of Concordia University in St. Paul, Minnesota. He had 19 starts in AA Wichita. He had 3 starts in AAA St. Paul. In AA Wichita, he was good. 19 starts, 7-4, 3.34 ERA, 1.34 WHIP, 119 Ks in 105 innings, 39 walks, 14 home runs. In AAA St. Paul, he was very good. He only had 4 starts, 21 in the 3rd innings, 27 strikeouts, and 3 walks. He allowed 1 home run with a 1.69 ERA, 0.84 WHIP. So clearly, the brass saw him at St. Paul and was like, let's give this guy a start if we need a 6th pitcher or we need to add to the roster in the doubleheader. Going up against Domingo Germán, 2-3, 3.12 ERA in 49 innings, 32 Ks, 11 walks. His last start, 9-0 loss at Tampa. We were all over Tampa in that. 6 2/3, 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 1 K. Twins versus righties, 235, 670 in the last 30 days. Listen to this. Yankees versus righties, 191, 567 OPS, the worst in Major League Baseball. Twins bullpen 3.92 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. Yankees bullpen 3.10 ERA, 1.22 WHIP. There we go. No, Billy Friedrich. So everybody who's logged into the contest, you're able to make your picks every Wednesday starting at 5 p.m. Eastern. So don't worry. And that's true, Joe. Yes, I don't want a beard at all. It's just a fucking situation I'm in right now. Okay, so let's take a look at the cash for game 1 and the weather and all that good stuff. 73 Fahrenheit, 8.4 miles per hour in, dies down to 7.6. So not offensive weather. Let's take a look at the line history for game 1 of Twins Yankees. Varland versus Germán. We have this opening up. There's been a huge move to the Minnesota Twins. A massive move to the Twins. Opening up at plus 172. I find this hard to believe. They're throwing these. I think this is a mistake. I think it opened up at plus 140. They say that if I'm to believe this, they say Pinnacle opened up at plus 172, lasted there for 3 minutes, moved to 140. 13 minutes after that, it moved back to 172. 9 minutes after that, it moved back to 140. I find that hard to believe. It's now plus 134. So there has been a move, regardless of how you look at it, if you trust the 172s, towards the Minnesota Twins. From a total perspective, it opened up at 6.5. I even find that hard to believe. I think those are wrong. I'm gonna count out the plus 172s and the 6.5s. This opened up at 816. It's 7.5 at minus 103, and that's where it stands right now. This is the first time that this site has messed with me, and I'm not going to forget it. The Yanks cash flow in game 1 here. Varland, Germán, they give the Minnesota Twins almost half line value, 40% line value. This is 1,563 tickets in, 10% of the tickets, 23% of the cash on the Twins. 46% of the tickets, 67% of the cash on the over. Take it away here, Moose. Game 1 of the Yankees double dip.
This is an incredible spot for Varland here. You're getting called up and you're pitching in a huge matchup versus the Yankees, but you very well could be in a wild card playoff contention spot, and it's September. So, it's. I have a tough time betting anything with the expectation of what Varland's going to do. Who's to say he doesn't go out there, throw one pitch, and then just absolutely unravel? Who's to say he doesn't go out there and just dominate for 5-6 innings? These lineups are not really all that good. The Twins are not hitting for a ton of power. I would absolutely be leaning more towards the under, but I've followed Germán for a while because he was on my fantasy team, and I was getting a lot of his starts, and they were looking really good. But there are some sneaky little things kind of going on in his metrics where it pushes me off a little bit, where all of his expected batting averages are all higher than his current batting average. Every pitch, curveball, four-seam, changeup, sinker, they're all higher. And you don't really see that all that often. Usually it's like 1 or 2 pitches will be higher than the other one. You can kind of you can assess that for however it is you want to look at it. But to see that and see all of them higher leads me to expect that there's going to be some kind of regression here. And I'm fine with that because I have Yankees future on them under their win total and not making the playoffs. And all of a sudden that's looking like it's back on the table. And that's good for me. And that's as much as I kind of want to take away from this game is just hoping the Twins win. It helps those futures bets. But in terms of a side or a total here, really, really difficult to get on one because it would point me towards the over. But I'm not sure, Jimmy, if you know this, but for you to cash overs, you need runs. And these teams struggle to score runs. So that's going to leave me off of this. And I really hope the Twins win. I hope they sweep both games. I'm not really all that interested in this doubleheader here just because of all the potential volatility that's going on. If I could do a prop bet on Donaldson, getting his panties in a bunch, I would take that. I mean, especially if it was anywhere close to even money, but there's not going to be that prop bet. So I'm going to be off this game.
Yeah, this game is there's just a lot of moving parts, and the market moving towards the over. Was the cash also moving towards the over? No, it's just not moving at all. At times, it's actually come back. At 10:19, it was juiced to minus 109. Now the under is juiced to minus 109.
And these teams have been like the last few years, they were setting and resetting the home run record. And now their OPS, their ISOs are bottom of the barrel. And that's just, it's crazy to me to think that. So that does kind of lead back into that any moment, home runs can be streaky. When they come in bunches at times. And these two teams are absolutely the poster child for streaky home run clubs. Does it happen today? Who knows? I really don't feel comfortable trying to play any kind of total with the Twins Yankees unless it would be to the over, but they're not hitting.
Yeah, this game doesn't interest me. Game 2 does. I get the splits. The splits here. I get them from ESPN. Here, I get them from ESPN. Okay. Yes, Dan Kelly, we're gonna move towards getting some more instructions. You're absolutely right. We will do that for sure. And this is our first year doing it. We will do that. Let's go. Game 2. This one's going to be fun. Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. We have Joe Ryan going up against Garrett Cole. Joe Ryan, 10-7, 3.88 ERA, 1.14 WHIP. We've let go of our hopes of him to win Rookie of the Year at the enormous numbers that we got him at the beginning of the year. His last start was not good. 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 homers, 8 Ks, 1 walk, and a 6-5 loss at home versus the Red Sox. On the road, he's been bad this year. 4-3, 5.05 ERA, 266 opponents batting average. Garrett Cole, 10-7, 3.28 ERA, 1.01 WHIP, 164 and 2/3, 204 Ks, 40 walks, 23 home runs, 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 of which were earned in a 3-2 loss at the Angels. He's been good at home this year. 3.15 ERA, 208 opponents batting average. And we've already gone over the numbers for the Twins and Yankees righties, and the Yankees bullpen still being good, the Twins bullpen being mediocre. Is there anything you're looking for in Game 1, or do you already want to make a move on Game 2? Take it away, Moose, Twinkies, Yankees.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that Joe Ryan's getting pretty fatigued at this point. The number one indicator is how many home runs he's given up and how much he's missing over the plate. I believe I said this last week, and if I didn't, I'm going to say it now. The number one thing that goes when you are starting to tire and fatigue is location. It's not going to be your velocity. It's going to be your location, and it's going to be your spin. And those two things seem to be occurring for Joe Ryan. And the weird part about this is I'm a little surprised because this was scheduled for yesterday, and they bumped it back and they put it into the second afternoon slot instead of just having it run through in the morning. What team scheduled or decided to do that first? Because the other, whether it was the Yankees saying, all right, we're going to bump Cole to the afternoon, that the response was, all right, we're going to move our guy up as well. And that's as much as I think, as much as I kind of look into this game is, oh, wow, they moved him to the second game instead of the first game. Because it's all the same stuff I just said, run it back. My favorite part about capping this is the absolute shit talk on Donaldson. That part is awesome to me. So we can continue that in the chat. Go ahead and talk about how his best days are in high school. He goes commando. Those are all awesome. I love that. That's as much as I want to take away from this game is just absolute roasting Josh Donaldson. Garrett Cole is somewhat of an enigma. He does have less movement and vertical movement and horizontal movement this year. In fact, this is the first year in his career where he has lower average horizontal movement per inches, according to Baseball Savant. This is the first time ever in his entire career where if you look at that right-hand column, there's blue, meaning that regression, or you could call it the sticky stuff, whatever you want to say, but the fact of the matter is he's getting older, and it's tough for pitchers to sustain themselves when they get into those later years of their career. Not everybody's Justin Verlander. I know, sticky stuff guy. I mean, there's guys that can just pitch and manipulate the baseball with whatever they have on their arm, whether it's sweat, sunscreen, rosin. You can see that the regression is starting to come for Cole. I'm not going to bet on this game, but any kind of roast of Josh Donaldson is what I would love to see happen here.
Do you feel like the over is the look? We have Dommy Gun confident on the over, team total over 2.5. Is this right now? God, did I say it was at 7.5? This thing's messing with me. Pinnacle, they say, is at 7.5 right now, but I'm looking at a 6.5 here, 6.5. That's juiced to the under right now. I bet 365. I think they got this game messed up with the odds. But what do you think of going over the 6.5?
It's the same thing. It's the ISO power. Yankees aren't hitting for ISO power. They're not hitting for power slugging, and neither are the Twins. So the Twins are hitting for a little bit better with their OPS, but it's 659. I mean, that's not great. So yeah, I guess the over, but it seems like it might be playing the over because it's the thing to do against Cole. And some people have had the trend where it has been profitable, especially recently. And you could also say that about Joe Ryan. It's just a matter of what we literally talked about with the first game, the difficulty for these offenses to create runs. And that is important when you're playing the over. I just feel like there's better spots on the board. I can totally see this game going over. If you gun to my head, the second game, I'd probably go over. First game, I'd probably go under, because you know that you're going to have to use your better bullpen pieces in the first game, and you're expecting your starting pitchers to go longer in the second game. You are starting to see that, and Joe Ryan is not a guy that should be extended in that kind of way. Both bullpens aren't great. They have some numbers and statistics that lean towards runs being scored. But it's tough to do that for me. I'm not going to talk anybody off the over in the second one. I would absolutely talk them off of it in the first one, but in the second one, I think the over is more active, but I'm not going to be playing it.
All right, those are your double dips to start off the card here. We've stayed off of the Yankees spot, although Dommy Gun is on the Twins team total over 2.5 in game 2. In game 1, Moose has moved on both, and I also joined him on the first 5 under 4.5 at -110. I haven't tweeted it out yet, but I have bet it, so I will tweet it out at some point here in the next 10 minutes or so. All right, those are the double dips. Let's move on to the rest of the card. We start at 3:10 p.m. Eastern. Milwaukee Brewers at Colorado Rockies. The Brew Crew 71-64, 36-38 on the road. At the Rockies, 58-79, 37-33 at home. We're at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. We will start out with the Colorado weather, 92 Fahrenheit, 4.9 miles per hour, right to left across the diamond. Move over to the line history here in this Lauer-Freeland battle of lefties. We have this opening up with Milwaukee -134. They're now -132, so almost no movement at all. Let's take a look at the total. Opened up at 11.5 at a pick'em. It's now 11.5 at -111 to the over. So there's been a 5-cent move to the over. Not a lot of action here. Let's see how many tickets are in. Just 3,026 tickets. You're going to see the ticket numbers in these baseball games decrease now that the NFL and NCAA football is here. We have 3,026 tickets in on this one. By the way, there is one team with full line value here. One team with full line value. That team is the Baltimore Orioles. That's the only team Sports Insight's giving full line value to. We have 16% of the tickets on Colorado and 43% of the cash. I can't wait to hear Moose's thoughts on Lauer in the thin air. 50-50 on the total, but 94% of the tickets on the over, or 94% of the cash on the over. 94% of the cash on the over, and the market barely moving towards that over. Eric Lauer, 10-6, 3.54 ERA, 1.22 whip. I like him. Now, he's allowed 25 home runs and 142 in a third. Maybe that's too many, but I make money off of him. Coming off a 2-1 loss at Arizona, we cashed the first 5 under very easily. It was Zach Davies, Eric Lauer. It was on Friday. On the road, he's been worse than he is at home. 5-4, 4.03 ERA, 233 opponents batting average. Then you have Kyle Freeland, who signed the monster contract extension. He's been decent this year, 4.75 ERA, 1.41 whip. He's coming off a really nice start at the Reds, 5 2/3, 8 hits, just 1 earned run. But he's been atrocious at home. 4-4, 6.10 ERA, 308 opponents batting average. Brewers last 30 aren't hitting lefties at all, 205, 651. The Rockies are 277, 781. And both bullpens are not pitching well right now. Brewers over the last 30, 3.98 ERA, 1.22 whip.
Rockies 4.40 ERA, 1.28 WHIP. Joe Yurkovich says that the Orioles recently had a pitching change. That's important to know. Thank you for mentioning that. And Stella Girl says heat advisory and record high temps in Colorado today. Also heavy air with a lot of smoke and haze. Says the ball is going to be flying. New Corker says 92 Fahrenheit and thin air. The ball should fly. Take it away for us, Moose, Brewers, Rockies.
All right. It wasn't really all that long ago that the Rockies versus lefties away was absolutely destroying their overall lefty numbers. The Rockies versus lefties at home has been an absolute backable spot. Even in their last 165 plate appearances, 141 weighted runs created plus, 604 slug, 980 OPS, 322 average. I really wanted to try to figure out a way to get on the first 5 over, but when I clicked that thing and I saw a 6.5 and I was going to have to go for a touchdown, it seemed fitting, but I didn't really want to get on it. So the second thing I looked at was the Rockies team total. And I don't know where it's gone because I wasn't able to bet it when I looked at it last night. Unfortunately, still in California, they don't give me the ability to bet a lot of those, and Bovada pulled a lot of the bets that were on the overnight lines. So I was hoping to get a decent Colorado Rockies first 5 team total over. But one thing I was absolutely looking into was a live under here. And I know you referenced the bullpens and that they've been poor and they've been bad, but there are some indicators to show that they can get better, or at least they won't be much worse. The team that you'd be more concerned on would obviously be the Rockies, but 3.95 ERA since the 22nd of August, and their FIP 3.9, xFIP 3.42. Milwaukee 3.86, 4.40. That's a little concerning, but a 4.03 xFIP. So it's a situation where I think if there are runs scored early, and the books absolutely expect runs early, given that they did set the 6.5, but then the full game was only set at 11 last night. I really think that it's going to be a situation where runs are scored early. You live bet potentially like an under 14, and then you cash that very easily later as the bullpen gets used, and you don't see you don't see as many balls starting to fly out of the air as the night air starts to come in a little bit. I would expect that situation to create itself. I would like to bet early or pre-flop the Rockies' first 5 team total, but I wasn't able to check it. So I was hoping to do that here and right now.
The Rockies' first 5 team total over. Interesting. I think that now that's not something that's available, but Bet 365. Let me move over here right now. The first half team total over for the Come on, really? Jesus, 2.5.
Is it really? That's done.
It's minus 129.
I was going to play 3.5, honestly.
Wow.
I was ready to play 3.5 at good plus money, but if you're telling me it's a 2.5, I'll just stack those and create kind of that hybrid 3.
Wow. That seems like that's got to be an immediate bet for everybody. That's just wow. Why would it only be 2.5 in that thin air? Do they really think that?
Well, Stella did bring up a good point. It's not going to be any night air, so I may have misspoke when I said like the game just kind of draws on. So that probably was that's a correction to make there. So I appreciate that.
Wow. Dommy Gun says that team total number has me liking the under even more. You're right, Dommy. I guess you're right. Why would Michael Irvine got it at 2.5 minus 125? Nice job.
Yeah, that's what I want. I mean, that'll be on that. That'll get added in. If it's really 2.5, that's done. Because I expected it to be 3.5, and it'd be like plus 140 or something like that. But if you're telling me minus 125, minus 129, that's low enough for me.
Ski, like in the Rockets' first 5 on the run line, I get it. I really get it. The only issue here, because you have to think, where's the biggest advantage in this entire game? It's offensively versus lefties. Last 30 days, the Rockies are just hitting them, leaps and bounds better than the Brewers. So that's the biggest advantage in the game. The fact that Freeland's so bad at home,
I'm not entirely sure what to do with it. What do you do with those stats of Freeland? 6.10 ERA, 308 opponents batting average at home.
There's just certain guys. I mean, look, it's Coors. It's Coors. So, I mean, as long as it's still named Coors, I'm not sure with all the name changes that go on with some of these stadiums. But he relies on a slider, and the slider is the more preferred pitch if you're going to have a breaking ball in Colorado. But there's no guarantee that it's going to do what it's supposed to do. You look at his the horizontal movement on his slider, and it is getting better this year compared to last year, where it was actually, no, I take that back. It is actually getting worse. So his slider has less break now than it did last year. And it is, man, I didn't even really realize that. That's a great question, pointing me down a rabbit hole here. It has progressively gotten worse over his career. And one of the things that can happen, and this is just personal experience as a pitcher and as a pitching coach that has been out in Colorado before, is guys will try to do too much with their breaking ball. They'll try to, get that extra spin. They'll try to over accelerate. And if you do that and fly open, you are way more likely to have your ball hang. And if your ball is hanging, that is one of the easiest pitches to hit in baseball, is that hanging breaking ball, because it just kind of floats there. And your eyes have a specific target, because it will have that circle like right there on the ball. So you even have a specific target that you're looking at to make contact. And if that's going on here with Freeland, I wouldn't be surprised that he's trying to do too much with his slider at home and he over accelerates on it, because maybe he's had some success throwing a harder slider in Coors, but this is all conjecture. I don't know what's going on there, but based off of what I'm seeing with his horizontal movement and how it has been steadily declining, that could be going on. The bigger question is, how did he get a contract if that situation has been developing, that his break is getting worse? I mean, that's where it's like, okay, what did you guys see that you thought this would be something he would fix in the future? Because he hasn't fixed it.
Ooh, this was a fun breakdown. Billy Friedrich Blackman in 24 career plate appearances, slugging .955 versus Lauer. Shout out to Justin McElvey joining us. Great to have you in the house, Justin. Wow. The only thing that's hurting me right now is Domi on the under, confidently on the under 11.5. I think a great point was made by Eric Jones, saying the end of a 7-game road trip for the Brew Crew may be a bit of a trap for the Brewers. Yeah. They still got to fight for this wild card, but yeah. Wow, and there's Dan Kelly with his looks at the Euro BMW PGA Championship. Tristan Lawrence plus 240, top 40, and it's plus 160 today. Nice job. Got him to win at a huge number. I love it. Okay, Joe Yerkfish looking at Colorado full game team total over 5.5. Okay, quickly before we go on, what do you see in this Brewers bullpen? Is this something they changed down these final few weeks of the season, or is this something that keeps them out of the playoffs?
That's a great question. Rogers blew it last night. And he'd been pitching well. He hadn't allowed a run in his last 6 innings, which I know it's like, who gives it 6 innings? But that was pretty impressive for a guy that was giving up basically 6 runs every inning. And that was kind of the counter to that. I would expect that bullpen to be better, but not significantly better. They're 3.86, 4.40 FIP. So they are expected to give up maybe a little bit more runs. They're not really really the big issue with Milwaukee, their walks. 4 walks per 9 innings over the last month or so. You are not going to be successful putting base runners on freely. I mean, free passes lead to runs. I would expect them to get better. I would expect them to get better, but are they going to be a bullpen that they've had in the past, where it was, Devin Williams and Josh Hader just coming in and shutting everything down? No, that's probably, those days are done. I don't expect that to happen. But I wouldn't be surprised if they did have better numbers going into the postseason as they clinch the postseason berth over the Padres.
That's so sad. That's so sad. Wow. Okay, all said and done, I love your look on the Rockies team total over 2.5 minus 129. I think Ski's look on the Rockies first 5 on the run line makes sense too. I love Eric Lauer. I'm not going to let that get in the way of trying to make money here. But I'm going to need more time to sit with this game. It pops off in 3 hours and 8 minutes, and probably spent too long on it here already. Very fun, and I love capping the card with you, Moose. Let's move on to 3:37 p.m. Eastern. Atlanta Braves 85-51, 38-26 on the road at the Oakland A's, 15-86, 22-44 at home. We're at Oakland Coliseum. First, we're going to start out with the weather in Oakland. It's 82 Fahrenheit. It's very hot on the West Coast right now. That's the hottest I've seen an Oakland A's game this year. 6.9 miles per hour out to right. Wow. The Bay Area must be loving this. Let's move over to the line history in this A's spot. Strider versus Waldachuk. And you guys know that I've become a fan of Waldachuk. There's been a 22-cent move to the Atlanta Braves. They opened up at minus 256. They're now minus 278. From a total perspective, it opened up at 7 at 9:15 this morning. It's moved to 7.5, but it's not a real 7.5. If you want over that 7.5, you're getting plus 107. So it really is still at 7. And then let's take a look at the cash flow here in this one. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned the cash flow in that Milwaukee, Colorado game. I don't believe I did. Sorry. It's 18% of the tickets on Colorado, 32% of the cash. So big bets are coming in on them. And then you have 52% of the tickets and 85% of the cash on the over. And the market's not moving very quickly to the over. I believe I did say that, actually. All right, let's talk about this one here. Braves, A's, Strider, Waldachuk. So as always, and we've seen this all year long, Sports Insights believes Oakland should not be this big of a dog. We see it almost every game for the A's. They're giving half line value to the Oakland A's. 7% of the tickets are on the A's and 10% of the cash. Then 21% of the tickets, 45% of the cash is on the under. The big question, though, is how is Spencer Strider going to follow up that beauty at home versus the Rockies? 16 strikeouts and no walks in a 3-0 win at home. He looks spectacular. 2.67 ERA, 0.98 whip on the year. My goodness. Now, he's a little worse on the road than he is at home, 3.24 ERA, but they're hitting 169 off of him on the road. Then you have Ken Waldachuk, the 5th-round pick by the Yankees in 2019 draft out of St. Mary's, California. He was part of the Frankie Montas trade. We talked about what has happened to him. He was just the best pitcher in Double-A. 1.26 ERA, had a 41.1% strikeout rate, but he walked too many batters. They believed at 8.9% walk rate. He moved to AAA. He was still good, 3.59 ERA, 34% strikeout rate, 11.2% walk rate. He switched organizations, and clearly the A's wanted him to change things and cut down the walk rate, and he did that. In 4 starts for the A's organization, AAA, he had a 3.8% walk rate. And we talked about, what Fangraphs and all of, the different outlets are he's just climbing every prospect ranking. And Fangraphs has a number 1 pitcher in the organization and the 35th best prospect in all of baseball. So here you have Waldachuk. He comes in a 7-5 loss at Washington. We cashed the first 5 under. We didn't cash first 5 Nats. He allowed 1 earned run, and it was 1-1 after 5. But he looked good, 4 2/3, 6 Ks, 4 walks, too many walks. So the problem is these Braves are hitting 337 with a 949 OPS versus lefties last 30 days. I mean, they're absolutely destroying lefties. So you have Spencer Strider, who's got to, you would think, come back to earth a little bit, but against this lineup, A's versus righties, 223, 639 OPS. Braves bullpen being so good, 2.73 ERA, 1.19 ERA, or 1.19 whip. A's 4.21 ERA, 1.37 whip last 30. Take it away for us here, Moose. Braves, A's.
Yeah, there seemed to be a general theme there, and it was walks for Waldachuk, and that really did pull me off of the under. I was looking at it, and it is a great point by Joe. Strider, 100-plus pitches over his last 3 starts, but you would expect some kind of indicator that, like, later in the games, he would start to walk. There's been none of that, and he's pretty locked in. The only thing I was really looking at here was the A's first 5 team total under, but I don't think I'm going to get there. It's maybe I will. Maybe we'll do. Maybe you'll give me some lines here, and we'll see if I take another one of those. But the workload is concerning to me. On the road can be concerning to me. The heat can be concerning in a situation where you are worried about fatigue. It can be very helpful for a pitcher to be pitching in a warm environment because your arm constantly has blood flow. It's always feeling fresh. It always feels like you're just coming out of the bullpen for your start. So a lot of that can be in play here. But one of the other issues is just your full body stamina and your full body fatigue. That is somewhat concerning for me. So that might be a little bit more in play here than the DeGrom first 5 bet. Oakland at home, 24.2 K percentage. Their last 384 plate appearances at home, 76 weighted runs created plus at home. You bring that even a little bit further, closer to what they've been doing recently. The A's at home, not nearly as good as they have been on the road. The road has, and this is something that all the Sharps have been on for a while. Their last 200 plate appearances, 24% or K percentage, 113 ISO. They are just not the same team at home as they are on the road. I think a lot of people here in the chat, we have made a lot of money off of the A's on the road, and we generally take that away when they're at home. I would like to know what a first 5 team total under is for the A's. That's the angle I would look at, because I could easily see Walchuk having a good performance versus the Braves, because he is a number 3 overall prospect for them, and they do expect some good things moving forward. I don't know what happened with their mechanical movements, or if it was a mental discussion on how he sequences to cut down his walks. I wasn't in the room to know all that stuff, but his first start having 4 walks was concerning. So that's the only angle I'm looking at, would be an A's first 5 team total under.
And Pinnacle does not want you to bet it. It's at 1.5. Under 1.5 is minus 184.
Oh my goodness. What about the full game?
I would just like to quickly see, before we go to there, let's just see what Circa's hanging. Because Circa hangs, they don't need the hook on these numbers. So Circa could give you that 1. Let's just see right now what they're doing first 5. And no, they're not giving out team totals. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Man, I wouldn't do the full game. I would only do the first 5. I just was curious to see what the full game is.
The full game team total here for the Oakland A's is 2.5, and it's minus 132 to the over.
Wow. Yeah, so that the expectation is the Striders just going to dominate.
Sorry, I screwed up. Minus 132 to the under. Excuse me. So juice to the under 2.5. The over 2.5 for the A's plus 113.
Man.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a tough one to take.
Wow. Joe Yurkovich on Walchuk over 4.5 Ks. Says think he will go 5 innings here.
He's got good stuff. He absolutely has good stuff. It's just he walks, and the Braves aren't exactly terrible at taking their walks. They absolutely will.
Well, we do have razor sharp picks, Gamblers first glance here. The Gamblers first glance, he is moving on the under 7. The under 7 at even money for our razor sharp picks. Wow. I
don't hate that, but it's just the walk. I don't hate that look at all.
I don't at all either, and I like the first 5 under as well, but just the number the Braves have against lefties. I mean, this is Waldichuk's most difficult situation in his whole career. I would like to watch how he handles it. JP's looking at Braves minus 2.5 only, plus 110. I don't think it's an only thing. If Waldichuk pitches well, we watched the Braves in remember the Braves series against the Rockies? I mean, the Braves just weren't dominating, except for even when Spencer Strider goes for 16 Ks, they win 3-0. And Rob Free says that Braves run line cost me 2,300 parlay yesterday. Damn, I don't like hearing that, Rob. Okay, so no action for us. Moose, do we move on?
Yeah, let's do it.
4:07 p.m. Eastern, Detroit Tigers 51-85, 21-45 on the road at the Los Angeles Angels, 16-76, 31-39 at home. We're in Angel Stadium, and get ready for more hot weather. 94 Fahrenheit, feels like 98. You never get feels like in Los Angeles. 7 miles per hour out to right center, gets up to 9.1 miles per hour. Wow, this is offensive weather. Let's take a look at the line history in this Hutchison versus Sandoval situation here. We have the Angels opening up at minus 200. Now they're minus 196. So just a slight 4-cent move to the Tigers. From a total perspective, it opened up at 9 and dropped to 8.5. Wow. With this weather, how does it drop to 8.5? I guess there's just no faith in this in offenses. 3,391 tickets in, 27% of the tickets in, 56% of the cash on the Detroit Tigers. So they're expecting Hutchinson to have a good start here. Wow. 45% of the tickets and 64% cash on the under. These are both throwing me for a loop. Hutchinson last start, 5-4 win at home versus the Royals, wasn't very good. 5 2/3, 4 runs, 3 of them were earned. 4.06 ERA, 1.41 WHIP. On the road, he's better than he is at home. 3.60 ERA, opponents hitting .219 against him. Patrick Sandoval is a really good pitcher, and he's been in the show for a little while. Hard to believe he's still just 25. 5-9, 3.02 ERA, 1.34 WHIP. His last start, 7 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, no homer, 7 Ks, 2 walks, and a 3-2 win at home versus the Yankees. At home, 3.28 ERA, 2.48 opponents batting average, slightly worse than he is on the road. Tigers versus lefties last 30, they're hitting 257, but no power, 657 OPS. Angels versus righties, 221, 643 OPS. All these stats are last 30 days. Tigers bullpen, nothing like they were in the first half of the year. 4.55 ERA, 1.32 WHIP. While the Angels bullpen, 3.25 ERA, 1.12 WHIP. Mike M., thanks so much for supporting the NFL show. It means a ton to me, my man. And thank you for being here with us. Moose, take it away. Tigers, Angels.
I'm going to be looking at the first 5 under. I know that you went through the weather and everything like that, but you are also seeing that the book movement is absolutely buying into the fact that Hutchinson and Sandoval will be pitching really well today. Detroit at home versus left-handed pitchers. 81 ISO power, 85 weighted runs created plus 14 runs created, minus 3.4 weighted runs above average. They're at home. They are generally the team you back, but it's also a team that you generally play unders at home because they will play better, but they do play more towards the under. The Angels versus right-handed pitching, they do hit for a little power, and that is concerning here. In fact, this was one of the plays I thought about doing a Moose call on, but I didn't get there specifically because of the correlation between what the weather is and the fact that the Angels can absolutely hit for power. I mean, when you have Trout and Ohtani in the lineup, and I believe they both will be today, you are in a situation where you can have power created, and that's absolutely what is being created there. But Sandoval is a pitcher that I've really seen develop into a pure pitcher. He's not going to overpower you with velocity, but he will absolutely carve you up with his various pitches that he throws. You know, he's throwing his slider 27% of the time, his changeup 24% of the time, and his fastball only 23% of the time. He's usually mixing his fastball as a fastball or a sinker. Most of his pitches are going to be that off speed, and he's going to be pitching backwards. That's something that I've seen him do really successfully. It's Hutchinson. It's about the walks. You know, will he be able to keep those down? And he's been doing a better job of that recently, not giving as many walks as he was earlier in the year. I'd still like to see him have a game where he doesn't walk somebody. I mean, that'd be nice to just, have a game where he has 0 free passes. But as long as he's keeping it down to under 3, I'll be much happier about how he's pitching. So I will be taking a first 5 under. Just a matter of if it's the 4.5 or the 4, given that there's been a line movement to the under. It sounds like it's going to be more of a 4, which I'm not nearly as excited about.
It's the opposite.
Really?
Surprisingly. Yeah. And so when I gave even though it went, I guess because it must have been a 5. We don't get the line history on first 5s. But if you want to go under 4.5, they're giving you a plus 105.
Yeah, then that's going to be that's what I'm going to do.
Wow. Okay. Moose is locked in. First 5 under 4.5 at plus 105. So, there are a lot of sharps on the same action as you, and I respect it. But for me, I'm just going to stick with the need for everything to correlate, especially on a 17-game board.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, for me, the only time that has happened is that first game that pops off in 18 minutes, and it's that look on the first 5 under 4.5. Mets Pirates. That's the one. So I'm not I'm not going to be concerned at this point that I don't have enough action. I'm going to just stick to the plan that's got us up double digits on the season. But after breaking it down, I can understand why you are going for that under. Eric Jones on the full game under 8.5. It's just Billy Friedrich says Sandoval from Cali, Hutchinson from Lakeland, Florida. Not sure the Heat will affect those two. When I'm talking about the Heat, I'm more talking about the ball flying. I'm not really talking about the pitchers not being able to handle it. Although, we talk about, Lance Lynn's sloppy tits in 100 Fahrenheit. We talk about some pitchers who just start sweating buckets. I'm not sure. I don't think it'll affect Sandoval. Okay, and Danzo says because both of these teams is good for a shutout every week. Both pathetic, says our guy Danzo. And Primetime 99 says no more under for me during this Cali heat wave. All right, let's keep rolling. Moose money making moves. First 5 under 4.5 at plus 105. And as we said, it was almost the Moose call, and the Moose call has gone undefeated. And Jose, you be ready for the Moose call when it's dropped. All right, Jose.
Oh, is there something ready for that?
Oh no, just.
It's Jose doing his thing again. Oh, all right. Well, I'm absolutely gonna. I may have one, but now it might be pulled off. That thing is terrifying to hear.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't put a lot of time and money into it yet, but it's just so they make the Moose call at this point. But if you stay undefeated, we will do that. All right, let's move on. 4:10 p.m. Eastern. Chicago White Sox 68 and 68, 34 and 32 on the road. At the Mariners 77, 59, 36 and 29 at home. We're at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington. Here we go. Michael Kopech. I know he upset a bunch of you guys when he started and clearly had a knee issue last out. He went on the 15-day IL. He'll still get workload limitations. This is his first start back. I did watch him throw, I don't know why, when I was trying to study for Kopech, I did watch him throw a 110-mile-per-hour pitch. He did run up, and throw it. It wasn't like from a standstill. And it was back in 2017, 110 mile per hour. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Kopech, 4.9, 3.58 ERA, 1.21 whip, 110 and 2/3, 133 Ks, 37 walks, and 10 homers. We're in T-Mobile for this one. Let's see the weather in Seattle. And 73 Fahrenheit, 7.9 miles per hour in. That is hotter than usual for this time of year in Seattle, but nothing like it is in California. Let's take a look at the line history for the Mariners. The Mariners are this is shaping up to be an interesting postseason in the AL. We all know that the best teams are in the NL, other than the Astros. But man, the AL is shaping up to be some interesting playoff spots as well. There's been a 3-cent move to the Mariners, and this total there's been a 3-cent move to the under. So most books probably have this at 7, because when Pinnacle has this at 7.5 at minus 120, it means most books are hanging 7. Let's take a look at the cash flow in this Mariners Kopech Castillo spot. 3,606 tickets in. They do give slight line value to the Mariners, 10%. 83% of tickets, 82% of cash on the Mariners. 65% of tickets, 88% cash on the under. And his last start was atrocious, August 22nd. He didn't get an out. You guys, a few of you guys were very upset because he thought he shouldn't have been pitching. He's been worse on the road than he's been at home all year. 4.40 ERA, 251 opponent's batting average. Castillo, 2.71 ERA, 1.07 whip on the season. His last start, 6-1 win at Cleveland, was excellent. 6 innings, 5 hits, no one runs, 4 Ks, 1 walk. He's been just very good. He's a huge pickup for these Mariners. White Sox last 30 days, 266 average versus righties, but no power, 702. They have the same OPS as the Mariners against righties, basically, and the Mariners are only hitting 225 against righties. And the Mariners bullpen's been so good, almost 3 runs. We're talking 2.84 runs over 9 innings less allowed by the Mariners, and the White Sox bullpen has been so bad. Take it away for us, Moose, White Sox Mariners.
Yeah, the surprising thing about this was, the Mariners have had a little bit more success on the road than they have had at home. In their last 265 plate appearances at home versus right-handed pitching, 27.2 K percentage, only 72 weighted runs created plus, minus 12 weighted runs above average. They are hitting for power. 151 ISO, but their slug and their OPS indicate that it's basically just been the home run when they do it. I really wanted to try to get more towards the over, or try to do a Mariners team total over, but I just couldn't get there. It is still surprising to me that Kopech is not going to be on the injured list for a much longer period of time, because this is a knee issue that it's not just something recent. He has been struggling with this for the entirety of the season, and why they don't just figure out a stretch or a recovery or rehab that's going to allow him to get fully all the way back. Because I feel like they're just like, hey, we need this arm in our rotation, and let's do what we can to make sure that he's pitching every fifth day. And that leads me to trying to get on the Mariners team total over. I believe this would be a situation for a Mariners side. Tough for me to get onto the Mariners team total when there are specific numbers about how they are hitting for power, where it's just basically the home run, and what's going to happen there, I don't know. But I was interested in the Mariners team total over, and that was kind of the only way I looked at it. Again, I'm taking away sides for a little while. I just feel a little bit more comfortable locking into the totals and team totals. Mariners side, not going to play it. If I did, it would be an absolute Mariners spot. I think this is a clear-cut Mariners spot, but I'm looking more into the team total.
Okay, I think I'm going to move on the Mariners first five here. I guess, should I have concern that it's only moved 3 cents? I think the reason why I guess I don't have a ton of concern is I think it's lined appropriately. I don't feel like – I just think that I'm not betting this because I'm looking at the line. I'm like, oh, there's line value here. I'm betting it because I think the Mariners will be up after 5 innings. It's that simple. So, I mean, you got to go minus a half. For me, that's minus 135. But
I agree.
And I don't trust a Kopech here with being off for 15 days. So, let's take a look at the team total for the Mariners for you, Moose, and see if you want to make a move on it. Here we go. The Mariners first five. By the way, and we spoke about this quite a bit a couple of years ago and not as much lately, is the first 5 team totals you can win. You can really win. And Bet365 pulled them. You can't bet first 5 team totals at Bet365. You haven't been able to for a few years. Why? Because they were losing on it. So if you focus on first 5 team totals, which is something that we've watched Peter Loshak do for years, it makes a ton of sense. Mariners team total is at 2.5. It's plus 112 for the over. Plus 112. If I go over to Circa and see if they'll hang us a deuce instead of a hook, the Mariners team total. Oh, that's full game. Sorry, first 5, and they're not. And Circa's not giving first 5 team totals. So, plus 103 at Bookmaker, plus 112 at Pinnacle.
Yeah, I'll come back to it because the power numbers they don't correlate. They just don't. I mean, their ISO is up, but their OPS and slugging are down. It's even worse at home. They've been better on the road, but their weighted runs above average are negative and minus. That's something I've really started to look into as I focused on totals. Weighted runs above average has been a really important stat to be able to indicate how they are comparing to all the other teams that are playing at that versus right-handed pitching versus left-handed pitching. How are they comparing versus that? And when you're negative, that's telling me that you are on the wrong side of performance. So I want to come back to that. That's going to be something I'll probably look at a little bit more later.
All right. I'm moving on it. Mariners first 5 minus a half for me. Let's keep rolling. 4:10 p.m. Eastern. We stay on the West Coast for an NL West battle. I would love to see Nut Flush Allen pop into the chat here. And Kyle Hintley, by the way, making a big bet on Houston. And I like Cole, Reagan. I like him. We'll talk about him, Kyle. But he got lit up by the Astros in one of his 4 starts this year, and he's coming off the IL, so I can understand. By the way,
howdy.
Hello.
It's nice to see everyone. First of all, I'd like to just let everyone know that I am indeed wearing the shirt again with my face on it from the video, the Sweet Tea video. But I'm here to give everyone some contest updates from everyone. So it's nice. So first of all, I learned when you're making the picks, all you have to do is click on them. And once that little check button comes in, you're good. You don't even have to hit submit. You click them, you're good there.
Can you unclick?
Yeah, you can unclick it, but after Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern, the picks lock, so you won't be able to change it from there.
Oh, so you can change it all week.
Yeah. So you've got until then.
Okay.
So yeah, you can do it till then, and then if you're worried that they didn't save or whatever, you can pick like all 5, hit refresh on your browser, and if they're still there, then they're still saved. So that's a big thing there. And again, if you guys are having issues or whatever, let me know. There's actually a little like register thing now. So if you're not getting the emails, you can just hit register on the website, pubsportsradio.com/contest. Go there. There'll be a little login thing. You haven't got the email yet, hit register, put your shit in there. And if you have paid for the contest, our website guy will just check you off and make you be able to make picks, essentially. So even if you have not paid, you can still register. You just won't be able to make the picks. So those are your updates. So you won't. The biggest update is there's no like submit button, is what I've learned. You just click on them, the check button comes, and you're all set there.
Okay, and you have to get your survivor pick in by Thursday before kickoff.
Yeah, I'll double check and ask Sean about that. I'm gonna ask him if he can make like that a little longer, because I think that turnaround's a little tight personally. But I'm gonna see what we can do there. But I will ask him and double check on that. But I think so, yeah.
That's all survivor pools, though. So it's all good. Let's keep it like that. Well, thank you so much for the update. And you have a say hey play today for us at some point on this card?
Well, I'll make it right here because I've been doing it the last couple of days. One of my new like gambling experiments is just betting the Dodgers run line every game. Just shout out to Preston Ekdahl. I hear him say all this all the time. Just bet the best team. Just bet the best team. Just bet the best team. So I'm like, all right, fine. I'm just going to continue to bet the best team run line, see how it goes. We've won I think it's 2-1 right now. Hit a plus 125 against the Padres, which is a shocking number. Lost the day the Dodgers lost, and then they came back, won yesterday. It was a minus 150. I still played it though, because I had that birthday pick from Peter Loshak. Shout out to Pete. But I'm playing it here again, minus 125, I believe it is. Here, let me double check here, because obviously it's going to be juiced with such a ridiculous pitching matchup here. But for me, it's pretty simple. It's obviously the Dodgers are the best regular season team, and yeah, minus 125 for me. And the Giants are not good. So
the Dodgers minus 1.5. It's minus 114 right now at Pinnacle for Jose Sweet Tea on My Tits Bouquet. Dodgers run line for our friend Jose. Stick around for this breakdown, Jose. We're at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California. These Dodgers 48-18 at home. The Giants 9 games under 500 on the road. Let's start with the Heat at Chavez Ravine. It is hot. 97 Fahrenheit. Feels like 101. 6.8 miles per hour out to right center. Let's go over to the line history. We have a 10-cent move to the Giants. From a total perspective, we have this total opened up at 9. It lasted at 9 for a while. Then it dropped to 8.5. Then it dropped to 8. So an assumption that Alex Cobb can be okay against this nasty Dodger lineup. Now, we've seen Kershaw get hit by the Giants before, but that was a Giants team that was trying. Now, maybe against the Dodgers, they start trying again. 6,859 tickets in. 17% of the tickets, Jose, and 56% of the cash on the Giants. I mean, that's just nuts. That's just crazy. I mean, it's wild. 52% of tickets on the under, 70% of cash on the under. That's just absolutely wild. Space Guard Ghostman asking if we've gone through the women's volleyball games yet. No, you didn't miss it. Stick around.
Helga would cap the fuck out of those. Let me tell you, Helga would be an excellent women's volleyball capper.
Stick around. We got heavy women's volleyball action.
Wisconsin, dominant.
Heavy action. Alex Cobb, he's pitching really well, but it's been at home. So he's coming off a great start, 13-1 win at home versus the Phillies, 7 innings, no earned runs. 7 Ks, 1 walk. Look, he's a pitcher I believe in. But look at these road numbers. Now, there's only been 48 innings or so that he's thrown on the road compared to like 80 or 90 at home. But 5.06 ERA, 299 opponent's batting average. Going up against Kershaw, I loved Kershaw's last start at the Mets. The guy cares so much. I mean, he's just so emotionally attached to the outcomes here. 5 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 6 Ks, 3 walks, a 5-3 loss to the Mets. He's champing at the bit. I always thought it was chomping, but champing at the bit to get back. 2-0, 2.83 ERA, 221 opponent.
Is it really champing?
It's champing at the bit. Yes.
Why?
Really?
Yes, we've been saying it wrong our entire lives. Giants versus lefties, 256, 757 OPS. Dodgers versus righties, 259, 806 OPS. Both teams are hitting righties, but nobody's doing what the Dodgers are doing offensively because they're on base percent. Every statistical situation, they're incredible. And you got Bellinger and Muncy, trying to find the Mendoza line. Giants bullpen last 33.62 ERA, 1.39 whip. Dodgers bullpen 2.76 ERA, 1.01 whip. Take it away for us, Moose. We've heard Jose on the Dodgers -1.5 at -114.
Yeah, I'm going head to head with the Heat, and the Heat's record is really, really good. But I'm not afraid of it. I am on the under here. I did get the 8.5. I would still endorse the 8. Kershaw has pitched really, really well, and I trust him coming back from injury. And we saw it in his last game versus the Mets. 5 innings, pitched really, really well in a playoff environment. I mean, that Citi Field was rocking, and he pitched as well as he's ever pitched. I expect him to do the exact same because Giant Dodger games, those are the games. I mean, I don't care what any fan down here in San Diego says. We have to respect that the rivalry is Giants Dodgers. Those games are very intense, and they've been that way for a very long time. Kershaw is very attuned to that. Cobb, this is new to him because he's been on the Giants when the stadiums weren't at full capacity. So this is going to be a somewhat new environment. He's obviously well-versed, having come from the AL East with those Rays-Yankees games. I don't worry about that too much. He's pitched really well. Cobb was one of those guys early on in the year when he wasn't pitching well that me and a bunch of other cappers were we're champing for, that we wanted to get out there and we wanted to continue to bet him. And sure enough, the numbers, the metrics have now turned out to be real life, and he's pitched extremely well. His expected ERA 3.06. So I see him continuing to improve. Bullpens are decent. They've been a little bit better recently. 2.89 ERA for the Giants, 3.75 FIP, 3.87 xFIP, and they have come off of a stretcher performance where they were really poor. So I expect them to kind of be in this middle ground. The Dodgers, 3.31 ERA, but FIP 3.87, xFIP 4.14. How much of that is related to Kimbrel's struggles? I don't know, but there are some signs for regression. But the numbers versus right-handed pitcher is fairly surprising. Dodgers only 99 weighted runs created plus a -0.8 weighted runs above average, slugging only 380, 694 OPS. The Giants, much worse, 095 ISO, 328 slug. I really don't expect the Giants to perform well. If it's all Dodgers offense, I feel pretty good about my under.
And you can still get it -115 over at Circa. Interesting. What is your take on the total in this one, Jose?
Well, honestly, I have not fully capped the card yet. As you know, Jimmy, Tuesdays are now interestingly late nights for me, making all those videos. It's a fun time as always, but I haven't gone through it fully, so I don't have a firm opinion on it. I just know this is, like I said, the gambling experiments that I do, parlays, the -300 fade. This is just one of those wake up for Dodgers -1.5. No thoughts, nothing about it. Just do it and see how the results go. So I have no opinion.
And what Jose is talking about is he's cutting up the NFL videos, and he stays up late into the night to do that, and he does such a great job at it. So respect to you, Jose, and thank you for your hard work. Because
it's not even the cutting is the worst part. It's having to do the graphics for today. It's the worst part about it. It's like, yes, I finished today's work. And then you realize, fuck, I've got to start tomorrow's. It's very fun. We love to do it. It's a great time.
Well, you do a hell of a job, and very thankful to have you as our.
And by the way, yes, people forget. We have a show to do tomorrow. People forget me and you hosting a show. Haven't talked about it once. We're gonna vibe, do our thing. You know what? I might even preview it might be ours, your background. The Cappers contest show is gonna be a great time. It's gonna be a great time. We're making all 5 of these damn super contest picks based on your opinions in the chat. I think it's very cool. It's gonna be not Joe Public. It's gonna be PSR Cappers knowledge, the collective hive mind coming together and just giving Vegas one of these, just a right in the fucking butt, giving them right in the ass.
The old Urban Meyer.
Yeah, yes, 2 fingers right in the stink. Yeah. Well, maybe we should call our contest entry Urban Meyer's fingers. I don't know. That's a good question. But
Urban Meyer's dirty fingers is what we should call it. I'm interested in calling it that. But so this is at 2. You guys have a number on how many? Yes, Tommy, we're going to talk about all of the contest entries on tomorrow's show. But I want to, because it's something that's really important to Slaughter. This Circa Millions entry that we have are your picks in the chat. They're not going. He does not want Jose and I to lead us into any spot. He wants you guys to decide, and it's going to be tricky how we do that. But that's right after our show, Betting with the Bag. Tomorrow, we go right into the Cappers contest show at 2 p.m. Eastern. And don't forget, 10%. Though people have been asking about how much is going into the winners in our Cappers contest. 10% of the 10% of the players, top 10% get paid out. 10% get paid out. Okay, let's roll on. Jose's say hey, play today. Dodgers -1.5, -114, and Moose is on the under 8.5, -115. And Jose better have that Moose call ready because the Moose call play today may be coming. Actually, Jose, stick around for the Boston Red Sox. 6:40 p.m. Eastern. Boston Red Sox 67-70, 32-36. Domi says, in my opinion, you would add more contestants if we knew today. Okay, I hear you, Domi, and I apologize that we don't have that number for you right now. 32-36 on the road at the Rays, 76-58, 46-24 at home, Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. Let's go over to the line history in this Rays spot. We have Pivetta versus Springs, and the move is being towards the Tampa Bay Rays. 10-cent move, opening at -156 at Pinnacle, now -166. From a totals perspective, it's just a 2-cent move to the over. So 10-cent move to the Rays, a 2-cent move to the over. Let's go over to the cash flow here. We have 5,056 tickets in, 81% of tickets, 76% of the cash on Springs and the Rays. Then 85% of tickets, 95% of the cash on the over. Also, Jose, when it does come to you, I want you to touch on Pivetta, who had a calf issue, which caused a short start last out. He only threw 3 innings in that start. And our guy Slatsy still cashed the over 1.5 walks. 4 straight starts, Pivetta's allowed over 1.5 walks, and he keeps cashing on it. And he's coming off this calf issue, which we thought might push his start back, but it is not. On the road, 3.98 ERA, 226 opponents batting average has been good. Jeffrey Springs here coming off that 9-0 win at home versus the Yankees when he went up against Domingo Germán. We studied the line history, the market movement in the game, and we decided that the reverse movement, we had to bet the Rays, and we cashed on the Rays easily. And Springs been very good, 2.62 ERA, 1.12 whip. At home, he's been even better, 3-2, 1.91 ERA, 225 opponents batting average. Red Sox first lefties, 284, 756 last 30. They're hitting them hard. Rays versus righties, they're starting to hit righties, 250, 735 OPS. Red Sox bullpen trash all year. Rays bullpen so good this year. Let's hear Jose's take on Nick Pivetta and his Boston Red Sox big dogs to the Rays. Jose, what do you think here?
Well, calf injury was not like a muscle calf injury. It was him getting crushed by a line drive. So I think he's fine on that aspect. So, it was just shitty luck. 3 innings, whatever. Does that mean he's going to pitch well today? I don't know. I don't think he gets crushed by the AL East, which is pretty fucked. I mean, it's kind of tough when you need him to be good against the division and he only sucks against the division. But I'm looking at his batter versus pitcher right now on Baseball Savant. Yandy Diaz 333, Rosarena 364. Fucking David Peralta hits him at 571 if he's still healthy, wherever he is. They've got good numbers against him, almost hitting 300, 286 as a club. Jeffrey Springs did get touched up by the Red Sox last time, though, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happened again because, like I've been saying, the Red Sox offense has been on fire. The infield of the future is there, and everyone is getting healthy. So in that aspect, the Red Sox are kind of rolling. So if I had to play anything, I think I'm playing the over here, minus 120 for over 7 for me.
That's an interesting take. Over 7 at minus 120. I can't wait. Do you want me to load that in for Jose? Say hey, spot.
I'll let you know because I'm looking at the lineups right now, and then Ski is gonna say potentially no JD, potentially no Bogarts. There's nothing confirmed yet, but it is saying no Bogarts on RotoWire right now. So I'll be interested to see. I still have faith because Christian Arroyo is shockingly been one of the better hitters on this baseball team, and he might play shortstop in his stead. So I still don't hate it, but yeah, I think Jeffrey Spree can get touched up here today.
Isaiah Scurry saying Ski Profit stick to NBA. I imagine that he's joking because one of the things about Ski that we've all learned from is he's not just a really, really good capper. He's a great gambler. And 5 years working with him, whether it's horses or baseball, like he takes in the information and he makes great use of it. So I love when Ski is all, betting all sport. We know he's an NBA expert. He'll always be. That'll always be his bread and butter. But watch how he gambles. Watch how he takes in the information and gambles. He's an elite gambler.
Another shout out to Ski real quick. I had Ski's voice in my head yelling the motherfucking Cougars because of his Publipalooza thing when he bet on the Cougars, Houston, in the Sweet 16 it was, I think. I had his voice in my head as the Houston football team was ripping my soul out of my body. So thank you for that also, Ski.
How'd that game go?
Moose, go fuck yourself, respectfully.
Yeah, he had to drench his tits in sweet tea to get over it. Moose, Red Sox, Rays, take it away.
Yeah, if I just placed it, I was looking for it. It is that moment. It is that time. This is the Moose Call play of the day here.
Give me again. Give it to me again.
It's more donkey than Moose, but
it does sound worse. It's worse. Take it away. Sorry, Moose. Keep rolling. What is the Moose Call?
Man, it is the Tampa Bay Rays first 5 team total over 2.5. They have just absolutely crushed Pivetta. I really thought Pivetta was going to have a good year this year. I mean, I'm sure Jose kind of could echo that sentiment, but it has not worked out. And Jose even hit it within the AL East. Like you look at some of his starts versus any AL East team, and his hits to innings pitched is generally going to be on the side of more hits than innings pitched. But specifically versus the Rays, he has really been bad. His last start, 8 hits, 5 runs. Start before that versus the Rays back in July, 5 2/3, 8 hits, 7 runs. It's just been situations that I feel pretty good. I know that the Rays aren't the Tropicana, if it's even called the Trop still, it's not conducive to offense, and the Rays offensive numbers do go down at home, but I really feel good about the Rays scoring against Pivetta. I'm even intrigued by the full game, and I might, but I do worry about the Rays full game because you are not guaranteed to get that bottom half of the 9th inning. And that's one of the things that goes into team totals. If you can get that first 5, you're guaranteed the bottom half of the 5th inning. And that has helped quite a bit when you're sitting on that edge and you need that last little out to be able to push a run across. I feel very good about the Rays hitting right now. I would have been on the full game in the first 5 over, but it is concerning what the Rays bullpen can and has done very recently. That ERA for Tampa Bay the last month, 2.92, FIP 2.69, XFIP 3.16. Fully expect them to continue to pitch well. And Springs, I know that he's kind of had his ups and downs, and he's got maybe he's had some moral questions this year that have let a lot of bettors off of him. But the fact of the matter is that he's just been pretty good, and I don't really want to trust, even though Boston's absolutely crushed righties, just like Jose said, with a 161 ISO since the 22nd of August. I feel more comfortable just taking their side out of the equation, taking away what Springs may do, what the Tampa Bay bullpen may do, and just focus in on the Tampa Bay Rays. And if I could lock in on the first 5 versus Pivetta, guaranteed bottom half of the 5th inning, I'm doing that. And I might move on the full game, but the full game not nearly as appealing at 3.5.
Well, I have a couple questions, but let's lock you in here for the first 5 team total over for the Rays is at plus 126.
I will let everyone know that the Moose Call drop will be ready by the end of the show.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice. Exciting. Very exciting. I hope you're involved in it. Okay. Back to this here. Let's just see what Circa's hanging here. Because a lot of love. You got a lot of love for that Moose Call. Not sure if it's a moose anymore, but let's just call it.
I don't think it is.
Let's just call it a call. It was just
Well, no, it changes up. I'll revise. We'll go back into the lab.
the first 5 team total here. Oh, of course, they're not giving us their 5 team total. Okay, I have a question, Jose, about Jeffrey Springs. Those 2 starts against the Red Sox where he was touched by them were both at Fenway. And at home, he's absolutely lights out. Do you still think he's going to get touched here, even though we know what he does at home? He's so much better at home than he is on the road. And so can we put a line through those 2 starts at Fenway or no?
I always have, I don't know if this is just me, but I always think that the team that you come from always knows a little bit more than other teams on you. And Jeffrey Springs is a former Red Sox. 2020 Red Sox in that forgotten year that no one wants to talk about because there's a bunch of Mickey Mouse shit. Shout out to Noli and the Dodgers. But I do think that matters at the end of the day. I think it matters, especially since it's so close. Maybe he doesn't get touched up for 5, but I do think he can give up like 3. But I ultimately do think the Rays win today. They're going for the Yankees' ass right now. Right behind them. It'd be a real shame if the Twins could stop being the Minnesota Twins and stop allowing all the Yankees hitters to be Barry Bonds. That would be really cool.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to move on the Rays. I don't want to double up here. Moose, what do you think of those 2 starts happening at Fenway and now Springs is back at home?
Yeah, absolutely. It's more comfortable condition. I could easily see him pitching better at home. I would like to see how he pitches at home versus on the road versus the Red Sox. And quite frankly, you don't know what can happen at any given game versus the Red Sox at home. Just a few short fly balls to left field that had enough trajectory are able to get out versus those are not gone at Tampa Bay. So if you compare the 2 stadiums, and I think I've referenced this before, the Willett Dong, there's a site that tracks all the home runs, and if it would be a home run in Boston or if it would be a home run in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is one of the toughest stadiums to hit a home run in, obviously because of the dome and just the parameters of the stadium. But there are a significant amount of home runs at Fenway, at Yankee Stadium that would not be home runs in Tampa Bay.
My response to that would be that the Red Sox don't hit home runs. They just refuse to hit home runs this year. They're absolutely horrible at hitting home runs.
I think that we're getting a decent number on a much better baseball team because of what the Red Sox are doing against lefties and what they've done to Jeffrey Springs at Fenway. And I think Jeffrey Springs can fight back here. I'm 100% moving on the Rays today. The question now is, do I double up first 5 or full game? Moose Call play of the day. Rays first 5 team total over 2.5 plus 126. Can we hear it once more, Jose?
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to withhold because that drop is going to be done hopefully in the next 20-30 minutes. So by the end of the show.
You son of a fucking bitch.
Yeah, I did tease you guys along. Stick around and you get one more Moose Call.
Yeah, sweet tease us along.
How's it go? How's it going?
All right, we move on to 6:45 p.m. Marlins, Phillies, and we move on to
The taint play of the day is the Phillies' first 5 minus a half at minus 105. We're at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Marlins 55-79, 29-41 on the road. At the Phillies 74-61, 40-30 at home. Trevor Rogers going up against Bailey Falter. Trevor Rogers has had a terrible season. He went on the IL because of back pain. That last start in his rehab was his best start. It was AAA. And he said afterwards, I haven't felt this good all season. We laughed and said, what else is he going to say? He wants a job. But I wasn't sure. But there was the feeling in the chat was, of course, what else is he going to say? And then he has his best start of the year. 2-1 extra inning loss at home versus Tampa. 5.57 ERA, 1.56 whip. He's been bad. But that start, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 5 Ks, 1 walk. On the road, he's been better than he's been at home all year. The problem is the Phillies are hitting 301, 803 OPS versus lefties. Marlins versus lefties, this is the lowest number I've written in the 5 years. And we've been doing this publicly, and I've been setting up these worksheets. The Marlins in the last 30 days are hitting 150 with a 502 OPS versus lefties. Bailey Falter coming off a nice start in that 18-2 win at Arizona. That was the last Moose call play of the day for Bailey. It was Bailey versus Tommy Henry, and both pitchers are pitching here. And the Moose call play today was on the over in that one. The bullpens are both really bad. Let's start with the weather here in Philly. We have 71 Fahrenheit, 8.1 miles per hour in. So it's not really offensive weather. Let's go over to the line history here in this one. Phillies, Marlins. We have a 9-cent move to the Marlins. And from a totals perspective, it's gone from 8 to 7.5. Let's go take a look at the cash flow. Here we have 5,006 tickets in. 74% of tickets, 84% of cash on the Phillies. Market's moving towards the Marlins. Then 27% of tickets and 48% of cash on the under. That sharp action has moved it from 8 to 7.5. And I wonder, the Phillies numbers versus lefties were much stronger a while ago. They're starting to fall back to earth, but still 301, 803 OPS. Take it away for us, Moose, Marlins, Phillies.
Yeah, and to answer your question, Rocco, I think there are some things to be concerned with Falter. But the fact of the matter is, he might be figuring it out. He might be figuring it out, and his metrics might start to improve. But all that being said, you look at his metrics with each pitch that he throws, and it's going to be almost very similar to what I talked about last week. And he did come off of all that discussion, and the over was cashed specifically by the Phillies. So I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, he contributed to it. But you look at what his slug numbers are, and they're not good on every one of his pitches. His sinker has a slug of 512. His slider has a slug of 595. His curveball 1,125, but he barely throws it. And his changeup is 714. When he gets hit really hard. That can be a problem. And the other side of it is, did Trevor Rogers figure it out? I mean, the narrative seems to suggest that he may have done something to figure it out. And back issues can be very difficult for how you extend and compress or decelerate. And if he was having issues with his deceleration, and it was something he was just trying to fight through, because it can be one of those issues that, yeah, it feels tight, feels sore, but it doesn't feel like it's prohibiting you from doing anything. But if you look at your tape, you'll notice that your extension has pulled back maybe like a half an inch, which is huge, especially for a guy that relies on a changeup where it's a field pitch at the release point. If he has figured that out, there's no reason to think that he can't return to the form that he was last year and build off of an amazing changeup that he has. But if that is not necessarily in play, if he is not all the way back to fully healthy and recovered, or if there's been some mechanical adjustments that have been made, it's tough to get on this game. I would lean over, but the Miami Marlins just do not hit. And I tried to find their splits away versus lefties, and I thought maybe it might be a little bit better, but no. Over the last 124 plate appearances versus lefties on the road, 16 weighted runs created plus, a 0.96 ISO, and a 187 on base percentage. 187 on base percentage for the Marlins. I would expect Falter to have a good game here. This is not the game where you can see Falter. I would expect that to happen later on down in the season. I would be on the Phillies here. I would not necessarily endorse an over. I think this is kind of a sneaky underplay if Rogers has figured it out, if he's gotten his release point back. But it could also be a sneaky Marlins spot too, because if Rogers is pitching well, the Phillies, they haven't been doing as well versus lefties, but obviously still hitting lefties really well. I would lean under, but that's as far as I would go here. I would have a tough time trusting Falter. I'd have a tough time trusting Rogers to have figured it out.
I think that this, and I've done this with great success over the last little while, is when there's a distinct reverse line movement and sharp money on a dog that I don't fully want to jump in on. I just trust that the starting pitcher for the dog is going to have a good start. And I'm looking at this first 5 under 4 because we know that Falter can shut down this weak Marlins squad. So the question is, if the Phillies score 2 runs or less in 5, I'm going to cash the under 4 for sure. If they score 3 runs or less, I'm looking probably at a push or a cash. So the last 7 days, the Phillies are 275, 717 against lefties. The last 14 days, they are, they're 308, 799. So it's the last 7 days where they've slowed up a little bit against lefties. LJ from H-Town says Marlins Phillies under is my play. And our guy, Jay Peasy, loving the spot for Taint and the Phillies, and there's no concern at all. Domi says Phillies roll today. What about his last few starts? I mean, that's what we're talking about. Domi he was pitching atrocious. He went on the IL for his back, and he said that, quote unquote, he's like, this is the best I felt all year. I finally feel good, and he had a great rehab start. And then he followed it up with a great. So I'm only looking at those 2. I'm going to follow through with this. I'm on the first 5 under 4 at -115. Is there anything for you here, Moose, or do we move on?
I am tempted by the under. I did lean there, and I just pulled up because I was curious. I was like, well, how have the Phillies hit lefties at home? Over their last 178 at-bats, 98 weighted runs created plus, minus 0.2, 161 ISO, 410 slug, 248 average. So it's pretty meh. It's pretty okay, which would kind of push me a little bit closer to that first 5 bet you're on. I'm going to look at it. I am intrigued by it. I think you're going the way that I might end up going. So I do like that first 5 under, and take the bullpens out of the equation. Neither bullpen is something you really, really trust. So yeah, I kind of like that first 5 under here.
I like it too. LJ from H-Town on the full game under. MDR 24 looking at Hoskins. Mark Tequila gave us Hoskins 7 of 16 lifetime with 3 homers and 4 extra base hits against Rogers. I love your stat on the home spot there. I love it. All right. Okay, Stimmy OG. Great to see you, Stimmy OG. That got me. I knew it took me a second to take it all in. That got me. Okay, let's roll on. Toronto Blue Jays at Baltimore Orioles. We've already discussed this slightly because there's 2 things at play here. One, the only spot on the board with full line value is the Baltimore Orioles and Dean Kramer. On the other side of things, our Ron Crawford is on the Toronto Blue Jays for the spreadsheet play of the day. We are at Camden Yards in Baltimore, Maryland, Charm City, home of the Von Polo family. Let's talk about this spot. 72 Fahrenheit, 7.3 miles per hour in, dies down to 6.5, 7.3 down to 6.5. Is
this still Dean Kramer, Jimmy? I just want to double check. I think this might be Tyler Wells now.
You're right. That was mentioned earlier from the Nuke Worker.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So that will take off the implied line value unless I Do they have they still have Kramer listed? So let's cut the full line value because that is a Kramer situation. Interesting. And so let's just see where Pinnacle is right now on this game instead of looking at the line history. They have the Blue Jays at minus 138. Interesting. TJ bet Toronto first 5, Manoah in action. Then the price got cheaper with the pitching change. I don't understand it. That was the first thing that surprised me. Why would it get cheaper if Kramer is not on the mound? Joe Yurkovich says Kramer is the primary. Oh, okay. So they're using an opener. I don't have RotoWire up here. I probably should.
Really?
Interesting.
It's Tyler Wells, right?
Yeah, Tyler Wells. Who's coming up?
He goes multiple innings. Yeah, I would expect him to probably go multiple innings. I'm not sure how they use the primary. I wouldn't. That's weird. I don't know.
Wow, this is very strange. Let's talk about Alek Manoah, 13-7, 2.48 ERA, 1.02 WHIP, Bulldog on the mound, 153 Ks, 163 innings, 40 walks, 14 home runs. Last start, 4-0 win of the Pirates, just completely shut them down. That was against Oviedo. 7 1/3, 5 hits, no runs, no earned runs, no homers, 6 Ks, 1 walk. He's been very good on the road all year, better than he's been at home. 7-3, 2.33 ERA, 225 opponents batting average. And then we have the Jays not hitting versus righties last 30, 245, 693. I know they're going to start against Tyler Wells, but Kramer's going to come in. This is strange. O's versus righties, 240, 706. Jays bullpen 3 ERA, 1.19 WHIP over last 30. O's bullpen 3.87 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. Much love, Ski. Thank you for hanging out with us. Take it away for us here, Moose. Jays, Orioles.
Yeah, I don't. This is really weird. How if there really is Kramer as the primary, and Tyler Wells is coming back, and what's the expectation on how long he's going to go? Is it just going to be a pitch count thing? Is it going to be a performance-based thing? And I don't know. That's a really important question that it would be really good to know the information on. If anybody is out there, this is where it absolutely would pay to have boots on the ground, somebody in the fan base that can give us the specifics on what could be happening, because this has to be getting talked about on the local Baltimore sports radio, because I would imagine it's a topic of conversation. If I was guaranteed that Wells is going to go for a specific pitch count and then Kramer is coming in, I would be less likely to jump on the under. If it was more about Wells pitching well and allowing him to go, I would be more likely to take the under, because I do think Manoah is, and this is absolutely, Jimmy, you can kind of tell me if I'm right or wrong here, but Manoah seems to be the guy that's stepping up and saying, I will be taking charge. I will be trying to pitch us into the postseason. And it's not going to be Gausman. It will be Manoah that is going to be the absolute dude, and he would be your game one starter. Would that be correct in your assumption?
I think that Gausman is a better pitcher than Manoah at this point in Manoah's career. And if I was a general manager, even though Manoah is a bulldog who wants to lead, I would start Gausman game one.
You'd start Gausman?
I would start Gausman game one. Yeah, I would. I don't need – Manoah's just this young bulldog. He wants the pressure, and I respect that. But if I was in charge, I wouldn't go Manoah game one. But from a leadership standpoint, the young man is a leader, so he will be a future game one starter. It'll be interesting. Bo Jackson agreeing with me on this spot. This is wow. Joe Yurkovich and others talking about how the Orioles are treating this like a playoff game. TJ says if you're on the Jays, you cannot be on the full game. Big pen usage advantage for the O's. I would not count on Wells being a primary. Wow. So is there a move for you here, Moose?
No, I'm not going to do a move here because it is. I mean, I'm very concerned about what would be going on with the approach. And I do like hearing that they're treating like a playoff game. That would push me right back to the under. But I don't know. I don't know what the usage is going to be. And if I do not know usage, it will not take on my bet. It will not take on my money, because I like to go into something knowing like, here's how I expect this to play out. And if I don't have a very good grasp on what any expectation is, whether it's the anticipation of it being a playoff game or the the reality that it's much more about just getting his pitch count back so they could have him ready, and they're not necessarily pushing for the playoffs as hard as maybe people might think. I don't know. I would expect them to be growing. I would expect them to be driving for that final playoff spot. But are they more concerned about the bigger picture with some of these younger guys? Because you do not want to fuck that up. Like, you don't want to put your young pitching at risk to try to cash in on something that you would be able to have a better opportunity for later on. And how much of that is going into these decisions, I don't know. And that's kind of why I'm going to be off.
I am going to move on this. Pinnacle telling us that Baltimore is in a better bet now with Wells to Kramer. Tells me I know what Manoah's going to do. He's a very predictable pitcher. First 5 under 4 for me. It's available at -115 for me at bet 365. We're going to go over all the games too because we're getting near the end, so you can add anything that you'd like. Moose, it's been great capping with you, my man. TJ says if I didn't have a bet in, I would pass. Too many unknowns. And Nuclear saying it was announced on Blair and Barker earlier today. There's Cuban Connect. Thank you for the kind words. Much love. Cuban Connect coming to us from Miami. Let's go. 7:40 p.m. Eastern. Cincinnati Reds 53-80, 24-41 on the road at the Chicago Cubs 57-78, 29-38 at home. Wrigley Field in Chicago, Illinois. Mike Minor versus Javier Assad, the 25-year-old from Tijuana, Mexico, who looked very good in 2 starts. He allowed his first earned run coming out of the bullpen on September 2nd. 2 hits, 1 earned run, 2 Ks, 0 walks, and 8-0 loss at the Cards. He was very good in both AA and AAA. 5-3, 2.66 ERA, 1.24 WHIP. And he showed that. He showed that in his first 2 starts. He showed that in his last start. It was August 29th. And he should be ready, all guns a-blazing, to go as deep as he can, which won't be more than 4 or 5 innings. Going up against Mike Minor, there was a lot of people on the fade Minor train on his last start, and they got lucky. We talked about how the Sharps were on that Minor was going to have a good start. And they got lucky that the Cards cashed the run line in extra innings. And I'm happy that because there was a lot of my friends on it, but it was a dodgy spot when we saw the Sharps expecting Minor to have a good start. Let's go first to the weather in Chicago. We have 6.3 miles per hour in. It's funny, you go out west and it's very offensive weather, offensive conditions. You go out east, and I know Chicago isn't really, out east necessarily, but you have in all these games very not offensive weather. Cuban Connect says Cubbies run line. LJ from H-Town says Cubs are bottom 4 versus left-handed pitching. Reds first 5 money line. The Reds and Cubbies, the Reds versus righties, Cubs versus lefties over the last 30 days, almost exactly the same offensive numbers. Let's go over to the line history in this Cubs-Reds spot NL Central matchup. We have a 1 cent move to the Reds. Then from a totals perspective, it opened up. It's a 1 cent move to the under. Wow. So very little market movement. Maybe nobody wants to bet this bum fight. Maybe that's it. 2,837 tickets in. 43% of the tickets, 77% of the cash on the Cubs. The market not moving towards them. 45% of the tickets, 94% of the cash on the under. And I don't know what to do with Assad. We talked about how good he looked in AA and AAA, and we thought he was going to pitch well when he started, and he did. But now I'm not certain what to do because I think that Mike Minor is capable of giving us value because he's better than the numbers indicate he is. Both bullpens, or the Cubs bullpen's been terrible. The Reds bullpen has been better. Take it away for us, Moose, Reds, Cubs.
Yeah, I do like Assad, and Minor has pitched better recently. And I mean, I think it's like basically every time Minor pitches, it's an obligation to go through his weird kind of stats that he has versus lefties versus righties. 1.10 WHIP versus lefties, 1.69 WHIP versus righties. And I've seen him pitch better. I really am leaning heavy to the first 5 under. I do not want to involve the bullpens at all. Chicago has one of the worst bullpens in baseball right now. The Reds, their bullpen has been pitching well, but I fully expect them to regress. I worry about the Reds versus right-handed pitching. That would be the one holdup that is taking me back from playing it right now. They are 100 weighted runs created plus, and this is all since the 29th of August. So it's about a 200 plate appearance sample size. So it's a decent sample size here. 184 ISO, 425 slug, 241 average. It's just a matter of, will they hit Assad with power? And that is a question mark, because we haven't really seen too many people hit Assad extremely hard. He hasn't given up a home run yet. Does that change? How much does that change? He really didn't do it much in the minors, but you never know how that transforms to the majors. I am very, very close to the first 5 under. If I get a decent line on it, I will probably end up with that on my card.
Well, I'm going to take it one step further. I'm going to put it on my card. Rem Most, the hat backdrop will be back in action. It's just, we had the move, and it's pretty complicated right now. That's why my sound is a little different, and working on all those things here. Yeah, I'm moving on this first 5 under 4. I think it makes sense, and I think you're on the right track. And Dan Kelly just got on TFO. Starts in 20 minutes. Late money going on him from our Dan Kelly. Thank you, Remos. Very kind. Very, very kind. First 5 under 4 for me, and we'll see if Moose takes the plunge. We'll wait on it. You want to wait on it a little bit?
I'm doing it. I'm hopping on.
All right.
I'm going to be on that first 5 under 4.
First 5 under 4. Let's line shop for you. I imagine that the best line. Ooh, wow. You have an option. They're offering. Oh, look at that. How do I? It's 10 cents better at Pinnacle. You can have the under 4.5 at -119, or the 4 at +110.
Yeah, I'm going to take the 4 because I like the plus money there. I just feel better with the 4. That's how I was looking at it regardless. I thought the 4.5 would be a better, have better VIG on it, but I was surprised to see it at basically almost -120. I'll take the plus money.
You've got it. First 5 under 4 at +110. We move on to 7:45 p.m. Eastern. Washington Nationals, 40 games under 500, but just 15 games under 500 on the road against the Cardinals, who are playing really good baseball right now. And I know a lot of you guys are on Cardinals futures from the beginning of the year, and you guys were right. Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. We'll start with the weather. 81 Fahrenheit, 7.1 miles per hour in. Guys down to 5.1 miles per hour. Let's talk about the line history in this Washington St. Louis spot. Abbott versus Montgomery. We have the Cardinals opening up at -290. Now they're -289, so no movement. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 8.5. It went down to 8. Now it's at 7.5. So a big move to the under. So an expectation that Kobe Abbott could have a nice start. We'll take a look at the cash flow in this. 6,771 tickets in, 16% of tickets, 27% of cash on Washington. So some big bets coming in on them. Then 60% of tickets, 99% of the cash on the under. Wow. So Abbott, his last appearance was September 4th. So we're just talking a few days ago, and he went 1 inning, 1 K1 walk. His last start was August 17th, and he went 6 innings. But you have to think that if there's this much money on the under, it's going to be a bullpen day. And this bullpen for the Nationals has been very good. 2.98 ERA, 1.24 whip over the last 30. LJ from H-Town on the Nationals, Cardinals under 8. Joe Yurkovich is on Washington, team total over 2.5. Well, Nats 10-2 last 12 on this line. Montgomery regression is due. Cardinals pen is not totally lights out either. They're not. If you look at the last 30 days, the Nats bullpen is considerably better than the Cards bullpen. I can't wait to hear what Moose has to say on the expected regression for Jordan Montgomery. For the Yankees, he was 3-3 with a 3.69 ERA, 1.10 whip. Good numbers. Not sure why he was moved. It lit a fire. On St. Louis, he's 5-0 with a 1.47 ERA, 0.93 whip, 32 Ks and 6 walks and 36 2/3. Take it away for us, Moose. Nats, Cards.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for me to get on this game. I don't know how far Abbott's going to go. I mean, he had like a few games there in July where he went multiple innings, but around that, he's basically just been the 1 inning bullpen guy. And if it is a bullpen day for Washington, look, I get that their bullpen has been really good with a 2.84 ERA. since the 22nd of August, which is the time frame. My beginning point is that the 22nd. So most of the numbers I'm looking at for bullpens will be based off of that moving forward. 2.84 ERA, but 3.65 FIP, 3.91 xFIP. Fully expect them to regress a little bit, not a significant amount, but they're not striking out a ton of people. 9.34 K9, which is decent, but for a bullpen, you definitely want to see them in the double digits because that is the thing that they are supposed to do. Is they're supposed to come in and get either strikeouts or quick ground ball outs. You do not really want your bullpen coming in there and not having that swing and miss stuff. That's why you see so many swing and miss pitchers in the bullpen. They are giving up too many home runs. They're giving up almost a home run per 9 innings. So I fully expect the Washington Nationals bullpen to regress. And to address the Jordan Montgomery regression, I don't see significant regression. I might see a little bit. I know that his expected ERA is higher than his ERA, but if you go down and look at what his metrics are for each one of his pitches, he might be getting hit and giving up base hits. But in terms of power numbers versus him, they are not really all that big. I mean, they do not have major power numbers versus pitches. 342 expected slug versus his sinker, 387 expected slug. 433 slug versus a changeup, but a 374 expected slug. Curveball, fastball, and cutter all have lower expected slug than the current slug. That all leads me to think that most teams are not going to have the big power numbers versus him. And he has proven, and especially if you have a field general like Yadier Molina behind the plate, being able to command and navigate you through the trepidatious waters. I don't think I used that word right, but that's not the first time I've done that. Won't be the last. I think that Montgomery is going to continue to pitch well. I don't know how well. I don't think he's going to be a clear-cut ace. I think he's a legit number 3 pitcher if you are able to put him in rotation where you can be a number 3. I think this game is more towards the under, but I am not going to play it. I don't trust the Washington Nationals bullpen to continue to pitch well. And I do think Montgomery does have that ability to sustain the success he's had with the Cardinals.
Great breakdown.
The word you're looking for is treacherous. Treacherous waters.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Let's just stick to the Moose calls, Jose, but thank you. I agree. I think it's tricky. Obviously, the move to the under has already happened, and I get it because Nats bullpen's been so good, and it's just too late. It's too late. If we look, I mean it's just dropped a full run. So I'm not even going to look at the first 5 under. Although I guess I would find that appealing. Let's move on. 8:10 p.m. Eastern. Cleveland Guardians at Kansas City Royals. We're at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. This one's interesting. 83 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 5.4 miles per hour in. When we get over to the line history in this one, let me just quickly move over to I screwed that up. Quickly move over to this Royals start. Morris versus Greinke. We have the Guardians opening up at minus 123. They're now minus 135. So a 12-cent move towards the Guardians. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 8, minus 110 to the under. It's now minus 105 to the under. So we have a 12-cent move to the Guardians and a 5-cent move to the over. Let's take a look at the cash flow here on this one. We have 5,043 tickets in. 53% of tickets, 72% of the cash on Cleveland. Then 46% of tickets and 88% of the cash on the over. So clearly, with Greinke coming off the IL with a forearm injury, they're expecting that he's going to get touched here. He's been incredible at home this year. 4-2, 1.98 ERA, 250 opponents batting average. The question mark is Cody Morris, and the 7th-round pick out of the University of South Carolina. He's a 25-year-old. Clearly, the market is telling us that Cody Morris is going to be very good here. It's an interesting situation because he has not pitched many innings so far this year. In rookie and AAA ball, he's only thrown 21 in the third innings. He has 39 strikeouts in those 21 in the third innings and a 1.69 ERA. He did start in a 6-1 loss at home to the Mariners, and he did not look good. 2 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 of which were earned, 1 homer, 3 Ks, 2 walks. But clearly the market is saying he's going to pitch well here.
And Greinke may not pitch well. May not. Guardians versus righties, 242, 640 OPS, last 30, not hitting them. Royals versus righties, 231, 662 OPS, not hitting them. Guardians bullpen we've talked about bullpens being 3 runs better than the opposition. The Guardians are almost 4 runs per 9 innings better than the Royals bullpen. I mean, I guess that has to be it. The idea that maybe you have Cody Morris getting touched, but once it comes to the bullpens, the Guardians will take over and win. Take it away for us, Moose. Shout out to Cheshire Cat in the house. Take it away for us, Moose. Guardians, Royals.
Yeah, I think this is a Royals spot. I think that it would be a first 5 Royals. But again, I'm not doing the sides right now. I really want to focus on the total, but I would endorse a Royals here because you just mentioned it. If it gets into the bullpen, the advantage is so severe. It is so severe to the Guardians that if you did somehow get a live look, like if you cashed the first 5 Royals, you could easily go back and then just take the Guardians full game. It could be that kind of game. What Zach Greinke shows up is a pretty huge question mark, but I do have faith that he is going to be okay, but there's no guarantee. Forearm injuries they're nasty. I mean, they can kind of just go away and fade from being a problem, or it can linger and it can be a huge issue and end up with a significant injury, season-ending injury. I don't think that's going on here. The fact that Greinke didn't really miss all that much time. I mean, the last time he pitched was August 21st, so it wasn't a large stint on the IL. And the fact that he's coming back and they're ready to run him right back out there, his numbers at home are significantly better than his numbers on the road. A 1.98 ERA at home, a 1.98 ERA at home, a 6.33 ERA on the road. That is a crazy discrepancy. I think he pitches well today. I'm not going to bank on it. I don't know what the hell we're going to get from Cody Morris. I mean, he could be good in the future, but his first start did not go well. Gave up a home run, 2 walks, 4 hits in 2 innings. I don't expect him to repeat that kind of performance, but the Royals, kind of crazy to say this, but the Royals have hit right-handed pitching better than the Guardians since the 29th of August. The Royals have I just lost it here. The Royals have a 244 average, 435 slug, a 105 weighted runs created plus, while Cleveland has a 241 average, but a 301 average, a 301 slug versus right-handed pitchers, and a -7 weighted runs above average. So it's kind of crazy to say that the Royals have been hitting right-handed pitching better than the Guardians. I would lean big time to the first 5 Royals, but I am not going to take the side. I do not know what Greinke is going to be doing with his forearm. That is a very major concern for anybody that is on the Royals.
Noli's saying this is a bullpen day for Cleveland. Feels like the Cleveland Guardians are going to play this like a playoff game.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So that tells me they're going to win. I know that we have also, why would the Royals throw Greinke for more than 75 pitches here? They have no reason to push him coming off the forearm injury. I think that the enormous advantage the Guardians have in the bullpen is enough for me to move on the Guardians, and I'm going to do that at -1. They're going to beat the Royals today, and I would be more concerned about Greinke's 1.98 ERA at home if he wasn't coming off the IL with the forearm injury. So TJ says that Cleveland's on his card. So is this a stay off at this point then for you, Moose?
Yeah, it would be a first 5 Royals, but the thing I would try to get on more than anything, what I would love to get on a Guardians live bet, because if they are down, there's no reason to think that the Guardians won't just keep it close and allow themselves to come back if they fall behind it all. So that is absolutely, if there's a side I will look at. I will look at live sides, but I think that is something I will keep my eye on to see, can I get a Guardian number at a better number? Because I kind of think the Royals do have a decent first 5 showing here. But again, that is 100% based off the fact that there's not going to be a lingering issue for Greinke and that forearm.
I like it. We have 2 games left on the card. Let's fire through them. 8:10 p.m. Eastern. Texas Rangers 59-76, 31-38 on the road at the Houston Astros. 87-49, 44-21 at home. We're at Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. We've already heard Kyle Hintley making an enormous bet on the Houston Astros, and he has disparaging comments for Cole Ragans, and I don't think they're fair. I believe, and we've talked about what Cole Ragans did in AAA. He's a good pitcher. And he's been good enough for me in the majors in the show this year. Now, there's 2 problems. One, he's coming off the IL with a calf injury. You've heard Peter Loshak talk about this is a spot where he likes to back a pitcher coming off the IL that's not dealing with an arm injury. Also, the issue is Cole Ragans got hit hard on August 11th by these Houston Astros. Went 4 1/3, 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 homers. It's stuck in his head because he allowed 2 homers the next start. Then he was better last start. Now, that was back on August 22nd because of the IL stint. 4 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 2 Ks, 2 walks, and 2-1 win at the Twins. Javier is coming off a 5-3 win at these Rangers. They just saw Javier, and he went 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 7 Ks, 3 walks. He's been good this year, 3.07 ERA, and he's been even better at home than he's been on the road. Notice that last start against the Rangers was on the road. At home, 2.52 ERA, 153 opponent's batting average. We've had a 10-cent move to the Astros. We've had a 1-cent move to the over. When we take a look at the cash flow in this one, you have half line value. So there's not a lot of line value for Sports Insights. They gave Baltimore with Kramer. You can take that away with Tyler Wells if you want. They have half line value on the Twins in game 1, half line value on Texas in this game, and half line value on the Oakland A's in the Waldichuk start. 5,926 tickets in, 17% of tickets, 13% of cash on the on the Rangers, and you see the market move towards the Astros. Then 62% of tickets, 82% of cash on the over. So over the last 30 days, Rangers aren't hitting righties very well, 242, 689 OPS, and the Astros are hitting lefties very hard, 285, with a very high average, not a ton of power, but 285, 788 OPS. Both bullpens have been good. The Rangers bullpen 3.43 ERA, 1.31 WHIP. The Astros bullpen starting to pitch more like what they did in the beginning of the season. I'm a little surprised Kyle Hintley has such confidence on this Astros squad in this spot. Take it away for us, Moose, Rangers, Astros.
Yeah, I mean, look, Kyle's been doing really well all year long with this stuff, but I do kind of see some stuff that is worrisome for Houston. I mean, especially versus left-handed pitchers, which last time I checked, I'm pretty sure Ragans just does throw left-handed, and I'm pretty sure he's going to throw left-handed in this game. Versus lefties, the Astros are 0.97 ISO in their last 152 plate appearances versus lefties, 21% K rate, 261 average. So they are getting their hits. They are somewhat getting on base, but in terms of power, it's not a ton of power versus left-handed pitchers. I think Ragans is going to improve. I think he's going to improve. He has to figure out his fastball at the major league level. That is the number one pitch that he has struggled with. And you see it all the time with pitchers when they get to the big leagues is they do not know how to throw that fastball effectively in different counts. I mean, it's so much of what we're taught as youth, professional, or semi-professional is you have to be able to command your fastball. But beyond that, you actually have to be able to utilize your fastball outside of the zone. And that is something that younger pitchers can struggle with because it's very difficult to throw to specific spots outside of the zone repeatedly at the major league level, anticipation of I will have to work behind in the count so that I can throw a sequenced pitch that I'm confident in, whether it's a curveball, breaking ball, or changeup. And I think that as Ragans gets that understanding and starts to figure it out, he will improve because his metrics show that he's got decent stuff. I mean, you look at his off-speed numbers and what they've gotten, 24% whiff percentage on his changeup, 21% whiff percentage on his cutter. He's got to be able to – I don't know if he's not going to use his curveball at the major league level. I don't. He hasn't really used it a ton in the minors. I don't know if he's going to use it. If he's a three-pitch pitcher, that could be tough as a starting pitcher. He might end up having to become a bullpen guy down the road. But I really did lean first 5 under here. I know I've got a ton of unders in my car. Shout out Nolan knows what the unders king, making unders great again. I am on that train with you. I love the unders, but I don't know if I'll get there with this one because I don't think I don't want to bank on the fact that I'm going to hope a guy figures out how to use his fastball in his second or third start. So I will be off of this. I do lean heavy to the under.
I'm going to stay off of this one too. LJ from H-Town, though, Astros first 5 -1/2, Javier over 6.5 Ks, and Altuve 2+ bases. I mean, 19-3 last 22 games versus lefties, but the stats over the last 150 at bats that Moose dropped are not good. This is interesting. When a friend of ours like Kyle has a huge bet on a team, I'll just sit back and cheer him on, and that's all I plan to do here. Nolan says go full game if you like the under. He cashed first 5 over and full game under last night. We move on. 5-0. I'm done. God damn. That's starting the day with a fucking loss. Okay.
Oh, really? That was 1-0 in the fourth.
It was 1-0 in the fourth, and it's now 5-0.
Oh, my goodness. All right.
Okay. 8:40 p.m. Eastern. Final game on the board. Arizona Diamondbacks 65-70, 28-36 on the road at San Diego Padres, 75-62, 36-29 home at Petco Park in San Diego, California, where Moose is right now. Moose can give us an idea on the weather, but it's hot in San Diego. 84 Fahrenheit, feels like 90. When did you say that about San Diego? 6.9 miles per hour left to right. That is the weather. This is the final game on the board. Let's take a look at the line history with Henry and Darvish. We have the Padres opening up -200. Now they're -202. Not a big move towards them at all. And a 5-cent move towards the under. It was a 5-cent move towards the over. Opened at -106, now -111. So 5-cent move towards the over. Really no move towards the Padres. Let's take a look at the situation. 4,753 tickets in. 80% of tickets, 81% of the cash on the Padres, but no movement towards them. 57% of tickets, 60% cash on the under, and a 5-cent move to the over. Tommy Henry had a great start to his career, and then he got lit up and smoked last out at home versus the Phillies. 4 innings, 8 hits, 7 earned runs, 4 Ks, 4 walks. Not good. Yu Darvish, on the other hand, 3.26 ERA, 0.97 whip, coming off a thing of beauty against the Dodgers. 7 innings, 2 hits, 9 Ks, 2 walks, and a 7-1 win. At home, he's got a 2.29 ERA. Opponents hitting 172 against him. Diamondbacks versus righties, 264, 764 last 30 days. They're raking. Padres versus lefties, just 261, 716. LJ from H-Town says Diamondbacks are the best first 5 teams since the All-Star break. 21 wins by the run line since the All-Star break. Padres versus lefties, I already gave the stats. The Diamondbacks have the worst bullpen. That's why LJ from H-Town talking about first 5, because full game, terrible. Diamondbacks bullpen, 6.05 ERA, 1.45 whip over the last 30. Padres bullpen not being nearly as good as we had expected them to be down the stretch. 4.08 ERA, 1.43 whip. Moose, how has your Padres fade been going, and what are you doing here?
Cashed yesterday, first 5. Should have cashed full game, but Ian Kennedy decided that I'm just going to throw fastballs the rest of this game, which was just ridiculous to me. I do not remember a time when pitchers have just sequenced so poorly at the end of games and just seem to go, I'm going to become one-pitch pitcher and it's just going to be my fastball. Come on, you are at the end of the game. You are supposed to be the best guy out of that bullpen, and you turn into a one-pitch pitcher. You don't have confidence to throw your breaking ball in a fastball count. Come on. I mean, I know I triggered Cabby a little bit, in talking sequencing and how to get hitters out by throwing out of the zone. But another part of that is having more than just one pitch. I mean, jeez. But I mean, I'm not that bitter. I did cash that first 5 and my team won. So that is nice. But I think this is going to be a big Padres game if they are able to do what they're supposed to do versus Henry. We saw Henry come out the gates doing really well, but I talked about it on your show last week, Jimmy. I did not think Henry was going to continue to pitch well. His metrics all indicate that there was going to be some pretty major regression going on, and it literally took one game for that to happen. You saw his ERA balloon up, and he's still got an expected ERA almost. Actually, it's only a little bit higher, but his expected ERA 5.19 compared to his now 4.83 ERA. I see too much from him that shows me that he'll maybe figure it out down the road, but he is going to struggle a little bit here. All of his numbers, again, the slug is not as high as the expected slug. The batting average is not as high as the expected batting average. Those are all indicators that there's going to be regression. Darvish has been the dude. I mean, he is our game one. You can argue Snell, you can argue Musgrove. I don't know why you'd argue Musgrove, but he would be our number one going into any game 1, game 7. He's our ace. He's the guy that we want out there. I see him pitching well today. I don't know if the Padres offense will do what they're supposed to do versus Henry, because there's been too many spots against guys like Corbin. You can even argue Singer when we faced him in Kansas City. There's been too many situations where we faced a guy that we were supposed to absolutely crush, and we just don't, because the approach is very bad. You're going to see them, if you watch today, you'll see them swing at way too many pitches out of the zone, and you'll see them take way too many pitches in the zone. I think this is of Padres' first 5. I know I hear LJ with the stat on the Diamondbacks are one of the most profitable first 5 teams, and I've been riding them, but Darvish is pitching too well, and Henry is too much of a candidate for regression to not see that the Padres have a decent game here. I'm not going to bet it. I'm not going to put my money on it. I will try to do my pay to fade, just put a little money on the Diamondbacks just to either pay for a win or get paid. But this is a Padre spot in my spot. I do like Cab and his consistent Darvish approach. He's been on him almost all season long. Shout out to Cab and shout out to Daily Sesh. I will be on there later. So if you want to have me talk any more baseball, maybe a little bit more of an altered state of mind, check in on the Daily Sesh later today. But I am going to be off of this. I think it's a Padres first 5 spot. I think it's a sneaky over. This is one of the rare overs I do like. But Darvish, I see pitching well today.
So what do you? Gosh, I'm betwixt. What are you going to make official, if anything?
Nothing on this one. I will have my own side, but I'm not going to make it an official bet. But it's the continued going up against the Padres and just kind of blindly betting it. I'm not going to make it an official one. It's just something I do on the side on my own thing. The only reason I bring it up and I talk about it is just because it's a bet that I've just got as a gimmick, and it's just something on the side. It's not a substantial bet, but it's something that I'm kind of just seeing how it plays out the rest of the year. And sometimes a lot of that doesn't really need a lot of capping or dissection or analysis. It's just something that kind of gets played. But I'm not here to just kind of blindly do stuff. I would much rather give it a much more informed bet. And I think the more informed side would be on a Padres first 5 and a potential over. But I'm not playing it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stay off this as well. I've got a lot of action out there. All right, let's review all action here. Don't forget, Cappers contest is of enormous importance. Sign up for it, but you have until Saturday. The Survivor contest, you only have until kickoff tomorrow. Dutch Boy Fresh will be live for day 1, and I'm on the first half under 25.5, and I'd like to live bet. There's Ricky Levine in the house. Says Colts haven't won an opener since 2013. Yeah, their last 12 years, they're 1-11 straight up and against the spread in week 1. And Flacco has been announced in. I immediately want to take the
Joe.
I immediately want to take the Jets team total under and now move on the Ravens -7. I don't think I can move. It's hard to take a road team that's that big of a favorite. Very hard, but I can understand Jets fans wanting Flacco in there over Wilson, but I just
all right. Settle down.
Hey, that's in the chat. Tommy Gunn saying it, man.
Dami also said that that Shohei Ohtani was trash at pitching. That's hold on. Hold your horses.
All right. Let's review all action. Moose in game 2. This is a fun bet of the Mets Pirates is on the first 5 Pirates team total under a half at +150. We are already 0-1 to start the day. First 5 under 4.5. It was 1-0 in the 4th inning, and it was 5-0 in the 4th inning.
Yeah, tough.
Dominic Ricci's on game 1 under 8.5 in the Mets game. He's on the Phillies run line, the Blue Jays run line, Rockies under 11.5, and Twins game 2 team total over 2.5. Sean Pulliam's on Cincinnati run line first 5, Texas run line first 5. Arizona run line first 5, Seattle under first 5, and Dodgers run line. Jay Peasy is on the Braves team total over 4.5. Blue Jays Orioles over 7.5. Let's go back to Moose in my action here. Moose Rockies first 5 team total over 2.5 at -129. I need more time on that game. We stayed off Braves, A's. Moose is on the first 5 under 4.5 at +105, and Tigers, Angels. I'm going to move on the Mariners first 5 -0.5 as soon as this show's over. Jose's on the Dodgers -1.5, -114. Moose is on the under 8.5 at -115 in Giants, Dodgers. And now we have the Moose Call play of the day. Upside down on that. Can I see that again?
Yeah, he's eating, Jimmy. You kidding me? They gotta eat the other way.
Can I see that again? Oh, fucking no. I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm sold on it.
Yeah, the digestion is going to be rough if I'm eating like that.
It's hard to eat upside down. It's hard to eat upside down.
Boy, the moose eats like that, guys. Oh, that's how they eat. Sorry.
Do they?
Yeah, head down.
Yeah. I mean, not upside down. I mean, I'm not like
head down. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, head down.
Yeah, but if you put it the other way, you're just burying your like neck, chin. Nah.
Well, I'm all about burying my neck and chin and stuff. So.
I don't. Well, there was a lot of good in that video. But I don't know if it was all good. The upside down face is still something we need to.
Some things to work on.
Mr. Vape says, do we have an idea of the payout for the Capex contest? No, not winner at the end. 10%. Top 10% get paid. Top 10% get paid. So, and we're going to go over how many people are in and all that tomorrow on the show. Moose Call play today. Rays first 5, team total over 2.5 at +126. Big plus money spot. I'm going to move on the Rays. I'm either going to double up or just take one, and I'm leaning towards the -1, but on full game. But I'm going to either take first 5 -0.5 and full game -1. Matty Ice, Tank play today. Phillies first 5 -0.5. I'm moving on the first 5 under 4 in Miami, Philadelphia. I'm moving on the first 5 under 4 in Toronto, Baltimore. Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play today is the Jays. Another first 5 under 4 for both Moose and I on the Reds, Cubs. Nats, Cards, we stayed off. Cuban Connect is on the Yankees run line. Brewers first 5. Angels game over 8. Mariners, San Francisco Dodgers first 5 over. I'm moving on the Guardians -1. Rangers, Astros, we stayed off. Diamondbacks, Padres, we stayed off. Nuke Worker says that the Moose eat apples off trees. But
I also eat steaks too, Jose.
Yeah, the upside down.
Fuck yourself respectfully.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
Yeah, friends and family. Let's get into it.
All right, friends and family. What happened in our last friends and family, Jose?
God, you guys just fucking hate my feelings. It was my birthday that weekend, guys. Be nice to me. Leave me alone.
Well, you cost us some cash, buddy.
We had all the opportunities to hedge on UTSA +4 and that cash too. Everyone, you're welcome.
I did. I did cover.
And on top of that, a lot of people, as soon as we say the parlay, they bet the parlay. So a lot of people cash with our parlay that originally was Red Sox that you said won 26-1 as well combined.
Yeah. No, you make some salient points. North Ender did cash UTSA +4. Dabby Cab, we are going to give the option to our guests moving forward. And I want to give it to Moose if you want to talk some college football. But this was a 2-hour and 45-minute MLB breakdown with Moose. Now, Thursday we have a lighter schedule, so it's easier. And on Friday we have Babano. And I can take a bit because we have CFL as well. But friends and family, Jose, take it away. What is your friends and family spot? Moose, start studying yours, and then I'll close it up. Friends and family, Jose, let's go.
Dodgers -1.5, easy, no problem. Just close your eyes, bet it every day, and see how it goes. Because the Dodgers they're the best team since sliced bread. They're going to win the World Series, no problem. Sweep everyone 4 games. They're going to break all the records, and that's what they do, right?
It's difficult to hear that breakdown of yours, Jose.
Difficult. We're betting on the best team in baseball. They've got Clayton Kershaw on the bump. They're facing their rival. Clayton hates the Giants. Their offense is going to keep rolling. Nutflush Allen, what up, my man? Thanks for joining. Right on cues, we'd say that I'm betting on Dodgers -1.5.
All right. Dodgers -1.5 for Jose. Moose. What is your friends and family?
Yeah, I'll go with the Moose call. I'll put it on the Rays. And forgot who's. Let me just scroll up real quick. Whoever said that Joe Ryan looks like Stevie Nicks. If you really want to see something that you can't unsee, go check out if he looks like Billy from Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm. That's facts.
I have no idea
the
shows that you were talking about. For me, I will add. Oh, God, this is hard.
Always is.
There's so much on the line. Fuck. Okay. Okay, here, let me look at one thing quickly here. I will move on the Mariners. No, I can't do that. It's too juicy. And then I'll need to run off of Kopech, but I think we'll get one. Castillo back home. I think Mariners first 5 -0.5. Let me just take one more second here. If I went over.
While you do that, Jim, Moose, what was your play again, real quick?
Oh, you want the Moose, the one I just did for the friends and family?
Yeah. What was it again? What was it called again?
It was the Moose call of the day.
Oh.
Better.
Yeah. Mariners first 5 -0.5 for me. Mariners first 5 -0.5. I'll go over all of the lines for that and have it all set up. But there is your show. Friends and family, Mariners first 5 -0.5, Dodgers -1.5, -115, and the Rays first 5 team total over 2.5. And we have our special guest, Moose Money, is going to be on the daily sesh today at 4:20. Don't forget Prize Picks at 3:10. And don't forget the Say Hey Play of the Day show, Say Hey Plays at 5:30. Say Hey, who is your special guest, Jose?
It's fucking Dabby Cab, who's going to fucking say the same shit as Moose. Houston's the best thing ever. You owe me 65 steaks. Fucking Houston.
Oh, God. Sounds like somebody needs a sweet tea tit drenching.
I do. I fucking do need one. You know, I had a sweet tea yesterday and it wasn't as good as it felt, all drenched on my fucking tits, as you say.
Oh, we all say it. It's not just me. Yeah, it was a wild roller coaster of a football game, and you had great seats for it. I'm sorry it didn't come through. But let's get that cash here. Friends and family is in, and the action is in. It's time to make moves on it. I've got to make some moves right now. Thank you guys all so much for your support. And don't forget, Cappers Contest, sign up. We're going to go over all the signups. We're going to go over everything tomorrow in the show. And then we have the Cappers Contest show at 2 p.m. right after this.
And I will ask, Adami, just for you, Dami, I will ask how many people are in the contest so I can get that number. And I will have it on the show tomorrow. At the very least, just for you, Dami. That'll be the Dom Ricci entries number segment because Dami's asked me as well, and I just could not find an answer for him.
We will have that answer. Foxy, thank you for joining us. Thank you all for joining us. North Ender, Noli Nose, Cheshire Cat, A, Yo, D, Dami Gun, Ricci, Billy Friedrich, Top Set, Raven in the Desert. Raven in the Desert giving us nice looks here. Florida money line, Virginia Tech money line, BYU money line, also the over 60 in Mississippi State, Arizona. There we go. Top Set, thank you for joining us. All of you guys, thank you. Nasty Nate said I had Red Sox in his. He had Red Sox in his, and he won.
Yep, see you in a week, Nate.
Oh, yeah, soon Jose hitting Boston and Fenway Park. The Nuke Worker, TJ, Mad Stoney, Woo, RZA, Rants, Real Deal Prime, Mr. Vape. Thank you guys. Bo Jackson, Fanatical Jim, Dabby Cab,
all you guys. Johnny K, thank you guys for your support. Moose, my man, any last words, and can you then leche us into the future?
Oh, it's like my favorite thing to do. I look forward to it all show long. If you want any college plays, I am on some college plays. I did make them early in the week, so I am one of the lucky few that got Wake Forest at -7. I also got Mississippi State under the 10, and I posted that early on Monday. So if you were on that, you were able to beat the line movements pretty significantly. So make sure you guys are tuning into my Twitter at Moose Money Bets. And, you know, ¿cómo se dice dinero? Leche!
We at Pub Sports Radio are doing our own Cappers contest. $100 entry fee. We will all be competing against each other. Every single cent that's put in will go into the prizes.
You've got 5 picks every week. If you go to pubsportsradio.com, you buy yourself that little ticket that you see on the website right there. Just hit add a cart. You buy the little ticket right there. And after you buy the ticket, you'll get an email with a link and a specific password for you to log in, make your picks, and all that good jam.
So it coincides, of course, with a survivor pool. 1 pick per week, sports survivor pool. That's exciting. We're having a Cappers contest, 5 picks against the spread each week, and a survivor contest. We all get to host the victors and roast the losers. The Cappers contest at Pub Sports Radio. All you have to do is go to pubsportsradio.com to sign up.